Chapter 2188. Immediately, the bronze door opened. Inside was a dusky world. It was the endless primordial chaos that came from the depths of the universe's origin, containing the endless mysteries of the universe. Rumble when the bronze door opened. The universe's universal laws, origin energy, endless yuan qi, and the mysteries of the world rushed out like a tsunami. This enormous energy, information, and universal laws fell like stars, pouring down crazily. It could be said that this range affected the entire star field. It was several times more terrifying than when Gaia reached immortal. Are you kidding me? How can the scene of reaching immortal be so scary? How can the reward be so much? Faye gawked. It had seen an elder of its tribe reach immortal. However, at that time, he opened the bronze door and communicated with the universe's origin. The reward he got was not even 1/10,000th of what it was now. Rumor has it that when one reaches immortal, the universe's origin will reward them with more energy and universal laws. Crow Demon Bird clenched its fist. So, some peerless monstrous geniuses will suppress their cultivation base and wait until their accumulation reaches the limit before advancing. That way, they will be able to establish a supreme Tao foundation, and the saint's road will be smooth. However, the more accumulation one has, the more terrifying the thunder tribulation will be. If he can't pass it, he'll die. It's a double-edged sword. If he isn't a monstrous genius and doesn't have endless confidence in himself, he won't dare to do this. An immemorial species sighed. Everybody knew that the more accumulation one had, the more benefits one would get from passing the thunder tribulation. However, the problem was that if he couldn't pass the thunder tribulation, he would die. Countless years of accumulation would be wasted. Normal cultivators were somewhat afraid of the thunder tribulation. They didn't have enough confidence, and their strength was just so. So, as long as there was a chance to become a sage, they would do it immediately. They wouldn't have enough time to think and choose. Yeah, this four symbols tribulation is the strongest thunder tribulation. It's rarely seen since the ancient times. From the ancient times until now, no one could pass it. Even immortal sages would die under it. However, this human passed it and obtained endless benefits. From now on, this human will soar to the sky. Nobody can stop him. Many immemorial species sighed. They had given up the thought of running away from Xiaoping. In front of such a terrifying immortal sage, they had no chance to run. Crash. At that moment, yuan qi condensed from the universe, origin and information of the laws of the universe, condensed into golden dragons that descended on Xiaoping's head. Then, this universe origin energy poured into the depths of Xiaoping's body, fusing into his 9 Dharma idols and 9 violet kingdom dimensions, passing through every cell in his body. In an instant, the power in his body increased crazily, rising endlessly. Then his soul and body completely merged into one. Boom! After an unknown period of time, Xiaoping sensed his soul continuously compressing, and compressing again. Finally, it condensed into a single point, like a black hole. True spirit. Xiaoping immediately sensed that his soul had received the infusion of an enormous amount of cosmic origin energy, finally undergoing a heaven-shaking transformation and condensing into a true spirit state. Immediately, he sensed his soul fusing into the depths of every cell in his body. It was as if his soul was everywhere and had countless clones. An immortal aura emanated from his body. Previously, Xiaoping had only obtained a half-step immortal body by relying on a divine ability like blood rebirth. But now he had truly transformed into an immortal body. Even if there was only one cell, one drop of blood, one strand of hair left in his body, he could absorb the infinite cosmic energy in the depths of the void and quickly regenerate. Now, his lifespan was limitless, as long as heaven and earth existed. He had already surpassed mortals. The concept of lifespan had truly become immortal. If he wasn't killed by the enemy, he could live forever. Finally, I've reached the immortal realm. Xiaoping was extremely emotional. He didn't know how many hardships he had experienced, how many slaughters he had gone through, how many treasures he had devoured, and now he had finally reached the sage realm. Although it was only the first stage of the sage realm, it represented a transformation. It represented transcendence and sainthood, and it represented that he stood at the peak of the universe's combat power. Crash, however, the rewards from the universe origin hadn't stopped yet. Enormous amounts of universal laws of the universe poured out of the Bronze Gate as if they were free, crazily pouring into Xiaoping's sea of consciousness. He didn't miss this opportunity, because there wouldn't be many opportunities like this to obtain so much universal laws of the universe. If he missed this reward from the universe origin, he didn't know how long it would take to make up for such a loss. It could be said that this was the most important foundation for laying down the path of the sage. Xiaoping's heart moved. After receiving the reward from the universal laws of the universe, he felt that his 9 heaven and earth laws, as well as countless magical powers he possessed, had been promoted and undergone a huge transformation. His pure Yang immortal technique, Yang God Fist, and so on first underwent a transformation and completely erupted. Terrifying flames burned like the sun, shining through the ages. Every wisp of flame contained immortal characteristics. When it fell, it would burn the world and turn into an endless sea of fire. Moreover, it would burn forever and would never be extinguished. The great yin-yang tablet's smashing hand evolved into a huge yin-yang wheel. Endless power of yin and yang gathered between heaven and earth. Yin and yang transformed endlessly, as if it already had the power to reverse the 5 elements and shape the world. Vaguely, a big black and white hand seemed to be holding a world. It contained the power of yin and yang and the 5 elements, exuding endless vitality and the changes between life and death. The azure, the arch longevity technique, seemed to have turned into a supreme holy tree, high up in the sky, like the tree of the world. It became the emperor of trees, commanding all plant life, and the surroundings were filled with vitality. Wisps of green aura spread out, causing countless plants to grow crazily and increase their lifespan. The chaotic thunder technique, a huge thunder pool appeared. Countless kinds of divine thunder gathered between heaven and earth. Indistinctly, countless thunder runes formed, as if they had turned into thunder gods. Every bolt of thunder contained a terrifying power that could destroy heaven and earth. The star guide art, a profound and mysterious book of stars, appeared, absorbing billions of stars. The stars formed one star formation after another, emitting endless blue starlight. Apart from that, all the other magical powers have been greatly promoted, as if they had been reborn. Chapter 2189. 7 days and 7 nights passed in an instant. The Bronze Gate connecting to the origin of the universe was still there. Endless origin energy of the universe poured down as if it was free. It was like the collapse of a star, a landslide, or a tsunami. Freak, truly freak. How much origin energy did he receive as a reward? Seeing this scene, the Fae was so jealous that its intestines turned green. It felt that as long as it left the space of the mountain river Pearl and devoured a little bit of origin energy, its cultivation would immediately advance by leaps and bounds. It would advance to the peak of thunder tribulation and even reach the immortal realm. Unfortunately, it could only watch but not touch it. This was the most painful thing in the world. A pile of money casually thrown on the ground, and yet unable to pick it up. It was too painful. This is simply unimaginable. Even the most talented monster among us primordial species did not receive such a huge reward from the origin of the universe. Even Gaia's advancement was not as good as this. Receiving so much information of the universe's laws, he could immediately establish the strongest foundation. In the future, comprehending the laws of the universe would simply be twice the result with half the effort. His progress will be godly. Immortal Sage is definitely not the end of this human. He might even advance to the invincible Sage realm and become a peerless overlord of the universe. Many primordial species could not imagine how far Xiaoping would grow after receiving so many rewards from the origin of the universe. This was already beyond their imagination. Now, they could not say anything. They could only feel envy and jealousy. Haha, the feeling of hugging someone's thighs is awesome. I don't need to work hard at all. I just need to follow behind. The life of a salted fish is awesome. At this time, Taotai Dream Lu also secretly ran out from the space of the Mountain River Pearl. She greedily absorbed the origin energy of the universe, feeling very comfortable. Although she had only devoured it for 7 days, it was comparable to the result of her million years of cultivation. It was like a person who started from scratch, worked tirelessly, relied on luck, all kinds of coincidences, and fought against each other to earn a fortune of billions. But now, when she woke up, she found out that a local tycoon had died and inherited his fortune of billions. This was simply a pie falling from the sky. She had obtained endless benefits, and after devouring the energy this time, her cultivation suddenly advanced to the peak of Thunder Tribulation Realm. She was just one step away from truly stepping into the immortal realm. It could be said that her current cultivation speed could be considered to be one of the best in the Taotai clan. Hateful Prince Regent, don't think that you're so great just because your cultivation base has increased. I'm going to steal from you and take advantage of you. Just you wait, I'll definitely surpass you. Chong Xiaoqian also sneaked out. Her face was filled with bliss as she devoured the cosmic origin energy in the surroundings. This was extremely beneficial to her growth. In just a few days, she had raised her cultivation to the early stage of the Thunder Tribulation Realm. Although she was very unhappy with this hateful regent, she did not hesitate to do it when there was a chance. Nothing was better than cheating to gain benefits. However, Dumbo Gaia was not there. She was still in a deep sleep. She did not need this kind of energy. She could communicate with the energy of the origin of the universe anytime and anywhere. As for Luna, she was currently fighting and slaughtering in hell. As far as she was concerned, as long as she could slaughter and kill, she would be able to rise through the ranks and use the corpses of countless people to forge her throne. Of course, the one who benefited the most was naturally Xiaoping. A huge amount of cosmic origin energy poured down, almost filling every corner of the entire star region where planet Yanhuang was located. Every cell in his body was greedily devouring this cosmic origin energy to make up for the lack of energy in his body. All of a sudden, his body was filled with a huge amount of magic power, which almost shook the void. Every cell was like a star. When he punched out, it was as if billions of stars were dancing. It could be said that the reward of the cosmic origin energy had saved him billions of years of hard cultivation. The one who benefited the most was the world tree in the depths of his sea of consciousness. It sensed Xia Ping's advancement, and every branch and root on its body was cheering. It also took the opportunity to communicate with the cosmic origin. The roots of the world tree pierced into the void and penetrated everywhere. They were like straws, constantly wriggling and devouring, obtaining a huge amount of cosmic origin energy. This also caused the world tree's body to rapidly expand. Its body and its power had all expanded more than 10 times than before. It had undergone a huge transformation. Vaguely, dense, mysterious runes appeared on the countless leaves on its body. It seemed that the world tree had also awakened many magical powers and slowly recovered a trace of the supreme elegance of the world tree. Next, the one who benefited the most was Xia Ping's natal magic treasure, the Bell of Chaos. Because the magic treasure tribulation was mixed with the thunder tribulation, Xia Ping also helped it survive. After the baptism of the heavenly tribulation and the reward from the cosmic origin, the Bell of Chaos immediately underwent a huge transformation. It devoured countless information of the laws of the universe, which also laid a solid foundation for it. If someone saw the Bell of Chaos now, they would immediately sense that dense information of the laws had appeared on the surface of the Bell of Chaos. It had obtained countless laws of the universe, as if it was a connate magic treasure born from the universe. At this moment, it had already advanced to the peak of a low-grade sacred artifact. It seemed that it was only one step away from advancing to a middle-grade sacred artifact. Although these accumulations would not appear for a while, with the passage of time, the Bell of Chaos would definitely become the fastest-growing magic treasure. I finally advanced to the sempiternal realm. Xiaoping clenched his fists tightly, and a terrifying light shone in his eyes. His entire body had undergone a complete transformation, and his 9 great Dharma idols had completely merged with his body, becoming one with no distinction between them. This was the sempiternal realm, the fusion of spirit and body. At this moment, every single cell in his body was trembling like a star. Every single pore of his was radiating golden light. A casual punch from him could cause space to tremble and the earth to tremble. A casual breath from him could form an energy storm. Vast amounts of origin energy would be transmitted to him from the depths of the void. It was as if he was the son of a god. Many of my golden crow hell cells have awakened too. Xiaoping was overjoyed. Advancing to the sempiternal realm and receiving the reward from the cosmic origin energy had also caused the golden crow hell cells in his body to awaken rapidly. Currently, he had awakened a total of 7 billion golden crow hell cells. He was only 3 billion away from reaching 10 billion. Moreover, this seemed to have broken through a certain bottleneck and found an opportunity to evolve. The golden crow hell cells in his body were constantly awakening and advancing, strengthening his body. It could be said that Xiaoping, who had advanced to the sempiternal realm, was more than 100 times stronger than before. Chapter 2190. My soul has become even stronger. Xiaoping could feel that his soul had transformed into a true spirit. The range of his divine sense had expanded tremendously. A single thought could cover a radius of 10 light years. It was many times stronger than before. His divine sense had become even more concealed. It had merged with the void and transcended everything. Those who were not sages would not be able to sense the scan of divine sense. This was a soul ripple of a higher level. It was like a power from a different dimension. No, it's not as simple as my soul becoming stronger. Xiaoping's eyes flashed coldly. He could feel his spiritual ripple spreading out, covering a radius of 10 light years. These invisible spiritual ripples gathered together and formed a domain. This was a spiritual domain. I see. At this moment, he was enlightened. Immortal sages had an innate suppressive effect on mortals. A single glance from them could suppress a large number of mortals. It did not matter how many people there were. After condensing a true spirit, it would turn into a true spiritual domain. With a single thought, this domain would envelop everything, and one's strength would be reduced by 30%. Moreover, due to the spiritual domain, it could envelop everything. Thus, no mortals could sense the spiritual ripples of an immortal sage. In fact, no technological means could detect an immortal sage. Usually, an immortal sage would be like a black hole, forming a domain that blocked all technological means. Any electromagnetic ripples would be repelled. Of course, there are differences between strong and weak spiritual domains. If one's strength was strong enough, the spiritual domain would not be able to suppress them. That was what happened to Xiaoping previously. He used brute force to destroy everything. Even if those immortal sages used their spiritual domains to suppress him, it was like a light breeze to Xiaoping. He did not feel anything special. Congratulations, Master. You've finally become an immortal sage. At this moment, the green ox appeared in front of Xiaoping. It was extremely excited. After waiting for so long, its master had finally become an immortal sage. Only by truly becoming an immortal sage would one be able to control one's own life. After all, no matter how strong one's combat power was, one's lifespan would still come to an end. After becoming an immortal, one would no longer be troubled by lifespan. I wonder if my current strength is enough to fight against a sage from near ancient times? Xiaoping asked curiously as he looked at the green ox. He felt that the green ox should know the true power of the near-ancient saints. After all, the previous owner of the green ox was also a saint, but he did not know how powerful the Mountain River saint was. I've never seen Master use his full strength, so I can't really judge Master's current combat power. But don't underestimate the near ancient saints. The Azure Ox said solemnly, even though near ancient saints and undying saints are only one realm apart, the difference is like heaven and earth. They can't be mentioned in the same breath at all. If you want to become a near ancient saint, you have to understand the law of space. Once you understand the law of space, you will be able to transform your spiritual realm into something like a paradise. This is a space realm that can affect the laws of the universe. At this point, the green ox's expression became solemn. If a near ancient saint is in his own space realm, he will be invincible, and so close, yet worlds apart. Undying saints will not be able to do anything to him, and even his own strength will be greatly suppressed in the space realm. More terrifyingly, after understanding the law of space, the body of a near ancient saint will also undergo a great transformation. Every cell in the body will become an independent miniature space. These independent spaces can contain thousands of times more magic power. So, just the magic power of a near ancient saint is enough to tear apart any undying saint. I see. Xiaoping's eyes flashed coldly. No wonder there was such a huge difference in strength between a near ancient saint and an undying saint. They were no longer on the same level. It could be said that there was a huge difference between every realm of a saint and the previous one. If they were mortals, perhaps ordinary monsters could still challenge those of a higher realm. But after reaching the saint realm, it was almost impossible to challenge those of a higher realm. The difference of one realm represented an absolute and insurmountable gap. Plus, it's extremely difficult for an undying saint to become a near ancient saint. The green ox said in a low voice. It indicated that since the birth of the universe, from the ancient times until now, there have been many undying saints. If there were 10,000 undying saints, then those who could comprehend the spatial laws and become near ancient saints wouldn't exceed 10. Sometimes, not everything could be done with an infinite lifespan. If the opportunity was not there and the comprehension was not enough, one would be forever trapped in this realm, unable to advance. Some undying saints could not stand being stuck in this realm, so they chose to enter all sorts of secret realms to adventure and obtain opportunities. But in the end, not even 1 out of 100 survived. What about Middle Ancient saints? What do I need to understand to become a Middle Ancient saint? Xiaoping asked. He wanted to take this opportunity to learn more about the saint realm. It would be very beneficial for his future cultivation. At least, he would have something to refer to here. At this time, the green ox did not hide anymore. After all, Xiaoping had become an undying saint and gained an infinite lifespan. He had the right to know about this. The green ox did not say anything before because it was worried that Xiaoping would bite off more than he could chew. Knowing that these things were not very useful, but now Xiaoping had enough strength. It said in a low voice, if you want to become a Middle Ancient saint, you have to understand the law of time. This way, you can freely adjust the flow of time in your own space comprehension. Some stronger Middle Ancient saints could even challenge the flow of time in their body and the outside world to a ratio of 100-to-1. Often, 100 years in their domain would only be 1 year in the outside world. Of course, this is only to control the flow of time within one's own space domain. To control the flow of time in the entire universe. Not to mention the sages of the Middle Ages, even the invincible sages and the legendary deities couldn't do it. The green ox said that even if they could not control the flow of time in the entire universe, some stronger Middle Ancient saints could even see some fragments of space-time in a certain place through the river of time. Therefore, once targeted by Middle Ancient saints, it was almost impossible to escape. This also allowed Middle Ancient saints to obtain many secrets and know all sorts of information in the universe. They can actually control the law of time. Xiaoping's eyes revealed a trace of cold light. He finally understood how terrifying the Middle Ancient saints were. Even if they could only control the law of time within their own domain, it was enough to raise the combat power of Middle Ancient saints to a terrifying level. Please remember this book's domain name. Mobile version. Chapter 2191. The saints of the Middle Ages were too powerful. Xiaoping finally understood why the gap between each realm of the saints was so huge and insurmountable. It was almost impossible to challenge someone of a higher realm. That was because a difference of one realm represented an earth-shattering transformation, and one's combat power would increase by more than 1,000 times. If he encountered the saints of the Middle Ages now, there would only be one outcome: death. After all, if he was controlled by the laws of time, it would be useless no matter what method he used. He could only watch as he died. He's indeed very powerful. The Green Ox could not help but nod. What about the saints of the ancient past? How powerful were they? Xiaoping continued to ask. The saints of the ancient past are even more monstrous. My old master, the Mountain River Saint, was in the realm of the saints of the ancient past. With such strength, he could be considered an expert even among the saints. There were few who could match him. The Green Ox's tone had a hint of pride. Ancient past. Xiaoping narrowed his eyes. He now knew the true strength of the Mountain River Saint. Previously, his master, the Multi-Star Saint, was far from being comparable to the Mountain River Saint. This could not be helped. The Multi-Star Saint was too unlucky. He was still young, and before he could advance to a higher realm, he was killed by another saint. In fact, this was a very normal thing in the universe. Not all geniuses could continue to grow. When they grew to become an ultimate existence, sometimes an unexpected factor would die. Before they grew up, there was nothing more to say. The Green Ox continued. If you want to advance to the ancient past, you have to comprehend the laws of creation. When you reach this realm, you'll be able to understand the secrets of countless lives. Within your own domain, you can change the state of life at will. For example, you can turn a primordial species into a cat or a worm, or turn a man into a woman, or turn a woman into a man. You can even turn stone into gold. It can be said that when you reach this realm, you are no different from the gods and the legends. You have truly grasped the power of creation. Change the state of life and matter. Xiaoping's body trembled. Although he knew that the ancient past saints were extremely terrifying, he did not expect them to be so powerful. Or rather, it should not be called terrifying. It was strange and unimaginable beyond the understanding of mortals. If such an existence was said to be a god, few mortals would dare to say otherwise. As for the realm above the ancient saint realm, I don't know much either. Back then, even Old Master didn't reach this realm. In fact, he didn't even have any hope of breaking through. The Green Ox sighed. It indicated that advancing to the next realm required a large amount of time and opportunity. If one didn't have the opportunity, they would be trapped in this realm forever, unable to break through. On the other hand, the Mountain River Saint did not wait for the opportunity to break through to the primordial saint realm, and he died in the invasion of the Abyss world. After hearing these words, Xiaoping nodded. He had a rough understanding of the Sage realm. Suddenly, Xiaoping sensed that the entire star field seemed to have undergone an incredible change. The Milky Way galaxy, where planet Yanhuang was located, had attracted the four symbols tribulation because of his tribulation, leading to a doomsday-like disaster. Countless planets and meteorites were shattered, turning into cosmic dust, and the surroundings became a vacuum. However, it was completely different at this moment. The cosmic dust floating in this star domain, under the guidance of the universe's origin and the universe's laws, rapidly condensed into a boundless continent. One after another, the laws of the universe were imprinted on the land, slowly forming a world. It can't be, right? Something like this actually happened. Xiaoping's eyes widened. He found that a continent that spanned the entire star field was born under his eyes. Even the original planet Yanhuang had merged into this new continent. When he was transcending the tribulation, all the humans on planet Yanhuang were teleported to the cloud continent temporarily, so there were no humans on planet Yanhuang now. At this moment, the entire Milky Way had undergone an earth-shaking change. Is this a naturally formed land world? Xiaoping sensed that the entire star field seemed to have turned into a vortex. Countless cosmic dust gathered together, and a large amount of dust condensed into a thick land. countless universes' laws were instilled from the depths of the origin, forming the foundation of a world. Under normal circumstances, such a thing would not happen. Even if a planet was destroyed, it would still take hundreds of millions of years for another planet to be born. However, the area where the Milky Way was located was very unique. It was considered a closed star field, surrounded by space storms, and nothing could escape from this star field. What Xiaoping had experienced was the Four Symbols Tribulation. It contained the four most basic elements of the universe: earth, water, wind, and fire. They were also the foundation to form a world. Moreover, he had advanced to the immortal stage and communicated with the origin of the universe. A large amount of origin energy and the universe's laws poured down as if they were free, filling the entire Milky Way. With all these coincidences, the power of the tribulation and the origin energy, the universe's laws actually formed such a miracle. This continent will become a cultivation paradise. Xiaoping narrowed his eyes and sensed that this boundless land was rapidly taking shape, forming a complete world at a speed visible to the naked eye. A huge origin of the world was brewing in the depths of the land, and its area had already covered the entire Milky Way. It could be said that such a world could be considered a giant world, even in the central universe. Moreover, it was born from the Four Symbols Tribulation. This would also make this world very special. Sometimes this was a tribulation, but after the tribulation was an opportunity, and after the doomsday was a new life. He could sense that the entire Milky Way was filled with the power of creation, life, and creation. Endless chaotic air currents flowed in this star field. Unbelievable. It seems like this star field is really blessed by the heavens. This was originally just an ordinary star field, but after such changes, it will become a cultivation paradise. It won't be much weaker than the worlds in the central universe, and it will also produce many universe-level resources. The Green Ox was also amazed. However, it will take at least 100 years for this world to form. Xiaoping could sense that this world was slowly taking shape. This would take a very long time. If he wanted people to live in it, it would take at least 100 years. 100 years is too short, the Green Ox said in a deep voice. For immortal sages, time no longer had any meaning. From now on, this world will be called Yanhuang World. Xiaoping decided on the name of this new world. This was the name he had inherited from planet Yanhuang. His eyes shone brightly. He felt that he was watching the birth of a new world and the circulation of various universes' laws. This would be greatly beneficial to his future cultivation. Chapter 2192. A few days later, Xiaoping had completely consolidated his sempiternal realm cultivation and integrated his skyrocketing power. He had finally ended his closed-door cultivation and had benefited a lot from it. He knew that the sempiternal realm was divided into three minor realms: primary, middle, and advanced. Right now, his cultivation should be at the primary level of the sempiternal realm. However, these three minor realms were only the difference in magic power and soul power. The difference between them was not very big. Anyone could advance to the advanced level of the sempiternal realm as long as they had enough time to cultivate. However, in terms of combat power, he could defeat anyone in the sempiternal realm and even fight with the sages of the ancient times. Whoosh! At this time, Xiaoping had also returned to the illusion realm's treasury from the space of the Pearl of Mountains and Rivers and exchanged places with Corinne. Nothing major had happened in the past 10 days. It had been peaceful. In fact, no forces had come to attack the illusion realm. It was as if nothing had happened. However, he also knew that this must be the calm before the storm, and such peace could not last for too long. Corinne, is there any news from the human race recently? Xiaoping asked. He knew that if the human race wanted to attack the illusion race, it would be impossible for them to keep quiet. If there were any clues, they should be able to detect it. There is no particularly big news. Speaking of which, there is really one. Recently, it seems that the patriarch of the human race plans to hold a Sage Dao discussion conference and invited the sages of all races to participate. This matter has caused a lot of commotion and has spread to many races in the universe. Many sages plan to participate. Corinne, remember this matter. Dao, a discussion conference? Yes, it is a very smart move. This is a covert strategy. Hearing this, Xiaoping's eyes suddenly lit up. If the human race acted secretly, the illusion race, who had extremely good intelligence, would definitely find out something fishy. However, if they acted with great fanfare, this was an overt plot, and the illusion race would not be vigilant. Because a Sage Dao discussion conference like this was rare, but it was not non-existent. The sages of the illusion race would not think that there was anything wrong with this matter. After all, they would never have thought that the human race would use this Dao discussion conference as an excuse to secretly mobilize their forces to attack the illusion realm. If this matter wasn't orchestrated by him, he probably wouldn't have thought so much about it. He would have thought that it was just an ordinary Dao discussion and wouldn't have thought of other aspects. It was likely that the sages of the various races who were attracted here would not have thought of this. Clearly, the higher-ups of the human race were deceiving even their own people. Only the core higher-ups would know about this plan. When will the Dao discussion conference be held? Xiaoping asked. It will be held in 3 days. Corinne replied. 3 days later? Looks like I'll be able to leave this place very soon. This time, I must seize the opportunity to make a killing. Xiaoping was certain that the Dao discussion would be held in 3 days, so the human race's attack might be 3 days later. Even if it was a little later, it wouldn't be too long. At the thought of this, he immediately cultivated with peace of mind and waited for the human race to attack the illusion realm. At this time, outside the courtyard where Xiaoping lived, a few sneaky figures appeared. Their faces were gloomy as they stared at the tightly shut door, unwilling to give up. Damn it, what's going on with this Barty? He's been cultivating in the courtyard for more than 10 days, but he hasn't come out even once. Does he like to cultivate so much? Doesn't he need a rest? Doesn't he know what it means to strike a balance between work and rest? One of the figures was very unwilling, gnashing his teeth. Yeah, I originally wanted to find an opportunity to deal with this Barty and kill him, but I didn't expect that bastard to not give us any chance at all. If this continues, we won't be able to complete our mission at all. When the time comes, we'll incur Saint Minerva's wrath, and all of us will be executed. Another voice also sounded. Clearly, he was from the Leinster family. No, we can't continue like this. If he stays in the outer hall of the treasury, we won't be able to find an opportunity to attack him. There's a powerful restrictive formation here. Any movement will be discovered by the guards here. When the time comes, we'll die without a burial place. Yeah, we can't carry out assassinations here. When the time comes, not only will we not be able to kill Barty, but our identities will also be exposed and will be executed by the guards here. But this won't do, and that won't do. Are we just going to watch this bastard roam free in this treasury? The few figures discussed and gritted their teeth, but they couldn't find any way to deal with Xiaoping. No, perhaps there's a way, but we'll have to pay a huge price. Someone suddenly said, What way? Let's hear it. No matter what the price is, it doesn't matter. The others said in a low voice. I heard that the deputy of the treasury's outer hall, Fiend, is a very greedy, immortal saint. If we pay the price, perhaps we can ask him to kill that Barty. That person said, What? The few of them were shocked. They finally knew what the huge price was. If they asked an immortal saint to take action, they wouldn't be able to move the immortal saint if they didn't take out enough treasures. Although the price is high, I think it's all worth it. If Deputy Temple Master Finn had taken action, he could have killed Barty within the scope of the rules. Moreover, he could have gotten all of us out of this mess. That person glanced at the others. The few of them glanced at each other and saw the determination in each other's eyes. You're right. If we ask Deputy Fiend to take action, killing Barty will be as easy as flipping a hand. Although the price of asking an immortal saint to take action is huge, if we go against the ancestors' orders, then the price will be even bigger. All of us will die. There's no other way. It's all that be *TCH Barty's fault. He caused so much trouble for us and brought shame to the Lannister family. This guy must die. Otherwise, where will our family's dignity go? So be it. Fortunately, we destroyed a few human kingdoms and obtained a lot of treasures. We can give them to Fane as a gift. I believe with so many treasures in hand, Fane won't refuse. The few Lannister family members discussed. Their hearts ached. They felt that giving away so many treasures was like someone was cutting off their flesh. The pain was unbearable. However, in order to kill Barty, they had no other choice. Thinking of this, they hated Barty even more. They wanted nothing more than to cut him into pieces. Chapter 2193. 3 days later, Xiaoping was still cultivating peacefully in his courtyard, but the day was still peaceful. The Sage Discourse Conference organized by the human race had already begun, and it was in full swing. It was said that sages from various races from all over the universe had come. They also cherished this opportunity and wanted to exchange experiences with the invincible sages of the human race. This would be of great benefit to them. However, it seemed that the human race sages had no intention of doing anything. It was as if this was a normal Sage Discourse Conference. However, he also knew that this Sage Discourse Conference would be held for at least 10 days. Within these 10 days, the human race sages could attack at any time. As for when they would attack, probably only the higher-ups of the human race would know. Apart from them, no one else knew. The only thing he could do now was to wait. Anyway, he was very patient and did not care when the human race sages would attack. Dong dong dong. At this moment, someone knocked on the door outside the courtyard. It was very urgent, like a storm. Who is it? Xiaoping opened his eyes and spread out his divine sense. He immediately sensed that dozens of people had appeared outside his door. All of them were guards of the treasury's outer hall, and they surrounded him fiercely. One of them was the immortal sage. He knew this person as well. It was the deputy leader of the treasury's outer hall, Fiend. He had a high position and could be considered the person in charge of this place. Usually, he would be cultivating in seclusion and would not appear where the guards were. Now that he had appeared with a group of guards, this was no small matter. Barty, come out immediately. Lord Fiend is here, and you're still hiding in the courtyard. What a scandal. Do you know what respect is? A guard outside shouted fiercely. With a smack, Xiaoping walked out from inside and opened the door. Seeing this group of people, his expression was very calm. So, it's Deputy Leader Fiend. I wonder why you're here? He saw a middle-aged man in a blue robe appear in front of him. He was 2 meters tall and emitted a frightening aura. This was clearly Deputy Leader Fiend. He could even feel a faint trace of malice from Fiend. He had clearly come with ill intentions. Deputy Leader. Hearing this, Fiend was very displeased. What he hated the most was people calling him Deputy Palace Master. Which ordinary person did not respectfully address him as Palace Master? Yet, this brat did not know any manners at all. It was extremely irritating. However, he was an undying saint. He was extremely shrewd and wouldn't easily reveal his emotions. Why are you still asking? One of the guards said angrily, You new guards haven't even been here for 20 days, and we've already lost an important treasure in the outer hall of treasures. We suspect that it might be you new guards who stole this treasure. Now, we have an order to investigate the rooms of all your new guards to see which thief has the stolen treasures. If we find them, we will not let them off lightly. He told them where he had come from. An important treasure had been stolen from the outer palace's treasury, and now the entire outer palace was searching for it. The situation was extremely serious. It can't be me. Ever since I came to the outer palace, I've been staying in my room, cultivating in seclusion. I've never left. You got the wrong person, Xiaoping said lightly. If you say you're not, then you're not. Which thief doesn't say the same? Also, you said you've been staying in your room. Who can prove this? The guard sneered, Cut the crap. Get out of the way and let us search your room. If we can't find anything, we'll naturally prove your innocence. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Without waiting for Xiaoping to reply, dozens of guards rushed in. They didn't care whether Xiaoping agreed or not. Like bandits, they quickly barged into the courtyard. Rumble, this group of guards rummaged through the chests and cabinets like wolves and tigers. They were extremely violent, not caring if the things here were destroyed or not. They practically searched every corner of the courtyard. All of a sudden, a guard captain shouted, Found it! The lost treasure, the water moon pearl, is here. Sure enough, this Barty is the real thief. He entered the outer hall and stole the water moon pearl. It was unknown when he had taken out a fist-sized bead. The bead emitted a silvery white light, containing the dense power of moonlight and pure energy. Anyone could see that this pearl was not a simple treasure. It could be considered one of the rare treasures. If this water moon pearl was auctioned outside, it would be worth at least 300 million universe credits. Barty, you've got guts. How dare you steal from the Outer Palace's treasury and steal the water moon pearl? Now that we have a witness and material evidence, what else do you have to say? Confess immediately. When did you do this? I've already said this. Barty's hands and feet were not clean. One look, and I knew he was a thief. Now that I see it, it seems so. You really can't change your ways. I've heard before that Barty is a dishonest person, often committing petty thievery and playing tricks. I didn't think that he would even dare to touch the treasures in the Outer Palace's treasury. How audacious of him to even dare to steal. What else is there to say? Immediately capture this thief, torture him, and throw him into the illusion's prison for 10,000 years. One by one, the guards shouted angrily. Their murderous intent was boiling. They seemed to be waiting for someone to give the order to tear Xiaoping apart. They spread out in every corner, not allowing Xiaoping to escape. I didn't steal it. This is a trap. Xiaoping stood with his hands behind his back and said coldly, I saw this thing clearly. This kid took it out from his body and purposely placed it in my room. He pointed at the guard captain. Bullsh asterisk T. You mean I've wronged you and purposely framed you? Who do you think you are to be framed by me? It just so happens that Master Finn is also here. No one can play any tricks in front of Master Finn. If I really framed you and took out the stolen goods, this kind of thing definitely can't be hidden from Master Finn. We can ask Master Finn to do justice and see who is lying. The guard captain grinned hideously. The other guards could not help but nod. No mortal could do anything in front of an immortal saint. If Sir Finn was the one to do justice, he would definitely be able to prove everyone's innocence. Sir Finn, please do me justice. The guard captain turned around and said respectfully to Fane. Yes, I saw the whole thing. This stolen item, the water moon bead, was indeed found in this place. It has nothing to do with anyone else, which means this Barty is the real thief. Hearing this, Finn nodded arrogantly, indicating that Xiaoping was the one who did it. There was no framing at all. It was all Xiaoping's lies. Chapter 2194. Did you hear that, Barty? What else do you have to say? What else do you have to say? After hearing these words, the guard captain was extremely excited. He pointed at Xiaoping and said, Even Lord Fane can testify for me. Both the witness and the material evidence are here. Do you still want to resist? Surrender immediately, or you will be charged even more. With the immortal Saint Finn backing him, he was full of confidence. If that's the case, then you're obviously trying to frame me? Deputy Palace Master, fine. I don't know how much you've received from them, but as a Deputy Palace Master, you should know what justice is. If the news of you framing Zhongliang is leaked out, Deputy Palace Master, fine. You won't be able to get away with it. Xiaoping's eyes revealed a trace of killing intent. Who do you think you are? How dare you speak to Lord Finn like this? Too daring. What kind of attitude is that? Do you have any respect for the immortal saint? You dare say that Lord Finn received money to deal with you? This is the biggest joke in the world. Who do you think you are to deserve Lord Finn to deal with you? A group of lackeys cursed. Loyal to their master, they directly came forward to bite. Whether you received money or not, you know best. If I'm not wrong, the person behind you should be from the Rinster family. Other than these dogs, no one would do such a despicable thing. Xiaoping said indifferently. What? Hearing this, the guards were half dead from anger. Their faces turned red. They were members of the Rinster family, and now they were being insulted by this kid. How could they endure it? Barty, you have guts. A returning truth, Aunt dares to speak to me in such a loud voice. At this time, the immortal Saint Finn sneered, However, you have violated the laws of the treasury. You are suspected of stealing the water moon pearl. This is a serious crime and cannot be forgiven. No matter how you argue, maliciously frame, or distort the truth, you cannot escape punishment. I won't waste any more words with you. You only have two choices now. The first is to surrender and I'll cripple your cultivation. Then, I'll throw you into the black prison and lock you up for 10,000 years to pay for your sins. The second option is for you to resist stubbornly, and I will accidentally kill you. I heard that you are a member of the Lawrence family. I don't know if Sophia will avenge you after you die. You can try. His attitude was condescending, and it was obvious that he wanted to use his identity as an immortal saint to kill Xiaoping. This was because in the outer palace of the treasury, apart from Jonas, he was the highest authority. His words were the law, and his will was the rule. No one could defy him. What should we do? At this time, Corinne transmitted his voice. He could feel the strong willpower of the immortal sage. Although he didn't know what benefits the Lannister family had given him, Fiend clearly wanted to kill Xiaoping. No matter which path it was death. It doesn't matter. At most, I'll give up my identity as Barty and kill this Fiend with a single punch. When I was still in the lightning tribulation realm, no one dared to threaten me. Now that I've advanced to the immortal realm, why would I be afraid of this trash? What a joke. Xiaoping's expression turned cold. He could clearly sense Fiend's strength. Compared to the many immortal sages he had encountered before, he was just an ordinary trash. Back when he was still in the lightning tribulation realm, he could already kill this trash with a single strike. Now that he had advanced to the immortal realm, his strength was more than 1,000 times stronger. His only worry was that after killing Fiend, he might alarm the outer palace Lord Jonas and the many old monsters in the inner palace, provoking them to attack him. However, he wasn't worried about this. At most, he could use the faceless mask to escape quickly and return to the space of the Pearl of Mountain and River to hide temporarily. He would only reappear when a human race attacked the illusion race. He didn't have to worry about anything. This kid is still smiling? Could it be that he has some trump card? But no matter what trump card he has, in my hands, only death awaits him. Fiend was extremely arrogant. He looked down on such mortals. After advancing to the immortal sage level, they had an unlimited lifespan. Immortal bodies weren't something that mortals with short lives could compare to. Rumble at this moment, the entire world shook violently. A terrifying tremor spread throughout the entire illusion realm, covering every corner of the illusion realm. Even the outer palace of the treasure vault shook violently. Terrifying cracks appeared on the walls, as if the entire outer palace of the treasure vault was being torn apart. In the depths of the void, waves of terrifying aura spread over, suppressing the void. It was as if gods had descended into this world. The suffocating pressure made one unable to stand still. What's going on? Why is there such a tremor in the illusion realm? Fiend was startled. He spread out his divine sense, and immediately sensed that the outside of the illusory boundary seemed to be surrounded by a terrifying invisible force, sealing off all directions. The surroundings were filled with densely packed void restrictions. Vaguely, countless auras of sages appeared outside the illusion realm. Dang, 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 dang. At this moment, the entire illusion realm reverberated with the sound of a bell. The void shook, and the sound reached the ears of every member of the illusion race. Oh no, this is the alarm. It's our illusion race's bell of extermination. This bell only rings when the illusion race is on the brink of death. Since the birth of the illusion race, it has only happened 3 times. This is the 4th time. It's over. We're completely done for. The enemy has discovered the illusion realm's location. Many sages have surrounded and attacked. The guards of the illusory clan were panic-stricken. Their bodies shivered uncontrollably. Hearing the bell of extermination, they were all uneasy. In their lives, they had never thought that they would have the chance to hear such a sound again. Damn it! How could this happen? How did the illusion realm's location leak out? We don't have any information. Who knows our location? Fiend was shaking uncontrollably. Even as an immortal sage, facing such a situation, he felt that things weren't good. Being surrounded and attacked by so many sages was a disaster that could wipe out his race. He even knew some inside information about the illusion race's upper echelon. His race had colluded with the Abyss Demon. If this was leaked, they would all be hated by everyone. Sages were no exception. It's here. It's finally here. The human sages have finally decided to attack the illusion realm. This is great. It's just the right time. Hearing such a voice, Xiaoping was excited. He knew that the scene he had been waiting for was finally here. Chaos. Only when the illusion realm was in complete chaos would he have the chance to take advantage of the situation. Chapter 2195. The news that the human clan sages were attacking the illusion world immediately shocked everyone in the illusion race. Many of the illusion race sages panicked, including the old monsters guarding the treasure vault. Damn it! What's going on? How come the human saints found out about our illusion realm, but we didn't get any information? We spend so much money to get information, but it's useless at the critical moment. We didn't get any information. Trash. You're all trash. An old monster of the illusion race roared furiously. The reason why the illusion race had been safe for so many years was because of their powerful intelligence and concealment abilities. Usually, they would escape before the enemy could launch an encirclement. But now, they didn't get any information until the human saints killed their way here. How could the old monsters of the illusion race not be furious? They even wanted to kill all the intelligence leaders. No matter how it was leaked, everyone knows that the humans have come out in full force to destroy our illusion race. The human saints have locked down the entire illusion realm and set up all kinds of godly restrictions to block the space-time. We can't escape it all. Damn it. All saints of the illusion race, listen to my command. Attack and kill these human bee asterisk stars. Let them know that our illusion race isn't to be trifled with. The saints of the illusion race shouted angrily. They received the order from their ancestors. No matter where they were or what they were doing, they all flew out of the illusion realm. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. In an instant, the saints of the illusion race flew out like bees. The sky was filled with the shadows of the saints, shaking the void. 1 hour earlier, in the central universe, on a vast square in a sacred place of the human clan, sages from various races gathered. Right now, a Tao discussion conference was being held here. Many human ancestors sat on the cushions on the high platform, emitting unrivaled auras that seemed to suppress the space-time, making countless sages' hearts palpitate. These were the human ancestors, terrifying existences who stood at the peak of the universe. They were the guarantee that the human clan would always stand at the top of the universe. They were the strongest combat force in the universe. Empty old ghost, is it enough? At this moment, the Xiaoyao ancestral master opened his eyes, and a cold light flashed in them. The void shook, and his spirit consciousness spread out silently. However, it only vibrated on the high platform, and the other sages couldn't detect any sound. It's about time. The sages of the human race and the other sages have more or less gathered. Let's not let the traitors of the illusory race escape. Let's get started quickly. The one who spoke was a gray-robed elder. He carried a scarlet gourd on his back, and his cheeks were flushed red as if he was drunk. This person was Ancestor Kong Kong, a supreme expert who had mastered space-time techniques. Little Dark North, this is a war that hasn't happened in a long time. We will fight against the saints of the illusion race and even the demons of the abyss. This will be a drill for the war against the abyss. You will be the main force this time. We will observe from the side. Do you have any confidence? Xiaoyao Ancestral Master smiled faintly and looked at the figure standing beside him. This person was Xiaoping's master, Dark North Ancestral Master. He was indeed a junior in front of so many human patriarchs. However, his strength was on par with most of the human patriarchs. Don't worry. None of the saints of the illusion race can leave alive. I will kill them all. Dark North Ancestral Master said faintly and touched the sword at his waist. That's good. Let's begin. Ancestor Kong pointed lightly. With a boom, ripples appeared in the void of the entire square. The void vibrated, and a huge and horrifying energy sphere enveloped and sealed this space-time. What? The sages were astonished and couldn't help but stand up. They sensed that the square had become an absolute space-time cage, and they couldn't escape no matter what power they used. Some foreign sages were even a bit panicked. They thought that the human sages had chosen to attack them, and that this Tao discussion conference was a trap to catch them all in one fell swoop. However, some ancient sages were very calm. They knew that if the human sages wanted to kill them, they didn't need to use these small tricks. They could just kill them directly. Besides, killing people in the Tao discussion conference was obviously not good for the reputation of the human race and would cause other races to attack them. No matter how they looked at it, the human race had no reason to commit such a heinous crime. Guys, don't worry. At this moment, Xiaoyao Ancestral Master stood up and said, "This time, we sealed the space-time to prevent the news from leaking out. Guys, please be patient. Under the space-time seal, no information could be transmitted as if they were isolated from the world." Xiaoyao Ancestral Master, what do you want by making such a big scene? An ancient demon saint asked. We only have one goal, and that is to destroy the illusion race. Xiaoyao Ancestral Master said faintly. What? Destroy the illusion race? Does the human race know the location of the illusion race? They must know. Otherwise, they wouldn't have made such a big scene. I'm surprised that the human race still found the illusion race after fleeing for so long. But how did the illusion race offend the human race? They made such a big scene and even held a Tao discussion conference to deceive the human race. The sages talked among themselves. I know that some of you sages might be friends with the illusion race sages, or you might be the incarnation of the illusion race sages, or you might even sympathize with them. But it doesn't matter. Xiaoyao Ancestral Master's eyes revealed a trace of cold light. I hope that when we attack the illusion realm, you can attack if you want, and you can stand aside and watch the show if you don't. The attack plan is very important. The illusion race colluded with the demons in the abyss and was corrupted by the abyss. This is a serious crime that requires the death of all clans. Whoever dares to make trouble at this time will be the enemy of all races in the world and will die even if they escape to the end of the abyss. Horrifying murderous spirit filled every corner of the square, sending chills down the spines of countless sages. Damn it, the illusion race colluded with the abyss and became the dogs of the abyss. Really? Does the human race have any proof? There must be proof. Otherwise, why would they make such a big scene? If that's the case, then the illusion race deserves to die. No one can save them. How dare they collude with the abyss? It's outrageous. We can kill them dozens of times. Don't worry. Xiaoyao Ancestral Master, count us in. They dared to violate the treaty of all races and collude with the demons in the abyss. They are the enemies of the universe and must be executed. The foreign sages were murderous. If it were any other matter, it would have nothing to do with them. But the fact that the illusion race dared to collude with the abyss was a big deal. None of the races would tolerate this. This was a matter of life and death for all races in the world. Even the top races with mortal enemies would work together because of this. Chapter 2196. Okay, let's begin. Empyrean Ancestral Master made a hand seal, and the entire square shook. From the depths of the void, a transparent, flying arc appeared. It was huge and boundless, containing powerful void energy. My goodness, it's the space-time arc, a peerless saint artifact. A sage couldn't help but yell in astonishment because it was his first time seeing a peerless saint artifact. It must be noted that a peerless saint artifact was completely different from a top-grade saint artifact. It wasn't as simple as 10 times more powerful. It was thousands or even tens of thousands of times more powerful. After becoming a peerless saint artifact, it seemed to contain a universe inside, engraved with complete universal laws, and could unleash unparalleled power. It was a true treasure that protected the clan, and it could suppress the fortune for billions of years. Boom! The space-time arc arrived at the plaza and silently enveloped the entire plaza. No, it wasn't as simple as just enveloping the square. Instead, it had enveloped the entire void of the square, from top to bottom, without any blind spots. Instantly, the sages sensed that they had entered another universe in the space-time arc, and the universal laws were completely different from before. Inside the space-time arc, they couldn't even unleash 50% of their power. Swoosh! The space-time arc trembled and instantly fused with the dimensional space-time. It traveled through the sea of stars silently, passing by dimensional spaces as if it was a creature from another dimension. Nothing could detect the space-time arc shadow. 1 hour later, the space-time arc appeared in the sky above the illusion realm like a giant beast. It was high up in the sky, and the sages could sense that the illusion realm was below them. It's indeed the lair of the illusion race, the illusion realm. The sages finally believed the human ancestral master's words. They had really found the illusion race. Let's begin. Activate the godly restriction and seal the void. We can't let the illusion realm escape. It's said that the core of the illusion realm is the peerless saint artifact, Mirage Mist Pearl. Although it doesn't have enough offensive power, it's good at escaping. Once there are any traces, it can activate the Mirage Mist Pearl to merge into the void and escape without a trace. The previous 3 attempts to annihilate the illusion race failed because we didn't know the power of the Mirage Mist Pearl. The Xiao ancestral master said in a deep voice, "Don't worry. This time, we have already made full preparations. No matter how cunning the illusion race is, they will still have to drink our bathwater," an ancient saint of the human race said coldly. "Let's begin." The Xiao ancestral master waved his hand. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Immediately, 10 primordial saints appeared next to him. Each of them held a small, dark, golden pagoda in their hands. The pagoda contained countless restrictive auras, making it unfathomable. When the other sages saw this, their eyes almost popped out of their sockets. Heavens, that's a peerless saint artifact, the Tower of 10 Directions. A saint couldn't help but exclaim. There are a total of 10 of these dark golden pagodas, and 10 primordial saints are needed to unleash the full power of this peerless saint artifact. Once the 10 Directions World Pagoda was activated, it could immediately set up the 10 Directions World, sealing the space-time and forming a world corridor. No matter how hard the sea serpent Mist Pearl tried to escape, it would not be able to escape from the 10 Directions World. In the primeval times, the humans used this peerless saint artifact to fight against the abyss demons. In that battle, they won a great victory and killed countless abyss demons and heavenly demons, laying the foundation for the victory of the primeval war. The sages felt chills in their hearts. The humans even took out the 10 Directions World Pagoda, which showed that the humans were determined to win this mission. Perhaps this mission wasn't only to deal with the illusion race, but also the abyss demons hiding behind the illusion race. Some sages revealed a trace of coldness in their eyes. It seemed that this battle wouldn't be so simple, and many sages might die. At this moment, the 10 primordial saints immediately spread out in different places. With the huge dark golden pagodas in their hands, they formed a hand seal. Instantly, the huge dark golden pagodas appeared in the vacuum of the universe. Towering between the sky and the earth, they were divided into 10 directions like 10 pillars. Dong, dong, dong. Immediately, the 10 huge dark golden pagodas formed one world after another. They intertwined with each other and grew endlessly. Yin and Yang merged into one, and the 5 elements flowed as if forming a cycle. The 10 worlds represented 10 different world laws. No matter how powerful the peerless saint artifact, the Mirage Mist Pearl, was to be able to cast illusions and hide time and space, it couldn't escape from the 10 world laws. Let's greet the sage of the illusion race. Otherwise, others will think that we humans are rude. Ancestor Emptiness said lazily. That's easy. Ancestor Dark North stood out, his face expressionless. He slapped out with his palm, covering the sky and the earth. A terrifying giant hand came crashing down from the depths of the void. Dong! Immediately, the entire illusion was squeezed by this giant hand. Endless mana exploded from the depths of the giant hand, creating a destructive wave. It seemed as if the entire illusion was going to be crushed. At this moment, the illusion was rattling. Countless laws of heaven and earth collapsed. Mountains collapsed and seas roared. Piece after piece of land was crushed creating violent chi of a universe. Vaguely, the illusion seemed to be on the verge of shattering. Oh my God! Many of the foreign saints were shocked and looked at Saint Darknorth in disbelief. That palm alone had surpassed all of them. It had reached the level of an undefeatable saint. If this world wasn't protected by the Mirage Mist Pearl, it would have been crushed long ago and turned into a ball of chi. Who is it? 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 Voices came from the depths of the illusion. They were furious and furious. Waves of terrifying saint aura shot into the sky. There was also a sense of exasperation. That was because the power of that palm was not to be underestimated. If it wasn't for the support of the Mirage Mist Pearl, the entire Phantom world would have exploded and the entire Phantom race would have been wiped out. This was the hatred of the extermination of a race, and it was absolutely irreconcilable. One could imagine how angry these saints were. Die! Saint Darknorth's eyes flashed with coldness. Without saying anything, he threw a punch. Bang! A saint of the illusion race did not even know what was going on. This punch surpassed time and space and reached the level of a god. It was unbelievable. His entire body exploded, and even his soul was crushed. With just a single punch, an unknown saint was beaten to death, his body perishing and his Tao disappearing. Attack! This punch also triggered a war. The saints of the other races did not hesitate and rushed in all directions. In an instant, the war between the human race and the illusion race erupted. Chapter 2197. Currently, in the outer hall of the treasury. What do we do? Master Fiend. Many treasury guards looked at immortal Saint Fiend nervously. No one cared about a nobody like Xia Ping anymore. Even the bell of extinction had rung, which meant that the entire race would be wiped out. Now, the entire race was on the brink of death. They didn't even know if they could survive such a disaster. So how could they have the mood to deal with Xia Ping? What do we do? How do I know? Fiend immediately wanted to curse. This was a disaster that could wipe out an entire race. The human race's saints had attacked in full force, even using peerless saint items. It was clear that they were planning on killing the illusion. Under such circumstances, even ancient saints might not be able to survive, let alone Fiend, who was only an immortal saint. His strength wasn't even worth mentioning among saints. However, he still endured it. After all, he was an immortal saint, a high and mighty powerhouse. He didn't want to lose face in front of these mortals. Just then, Xiaoping stood out and looked at Fiend calmly. Fiend, you don't need to think about what to do. Just what you said is enough to make you die without a grave. Have you thought about how you're going to die? Shut up. A little ant dares to be so arrogant here. You don't need to enter the black prison today. I'll kill you now and see who can save your life today. Hearing this, Fiend was furious. It was fine that he couldn't deal with this disaster, but Barty, this little ant, dared to cause trouble at such a critical moment. Instantly, he became bold and wanted to kill Xiaoping. In this critical moment, a few people dying was just a small matter. No one would look into it. Idiot, Xiaoping sneered. With a thought, a tyrannical spiritual domain blasted out. His eyes exploded with unprecedented cold light, like the sun. What? Fiend was scared half to death. He immediately felt the entire world change. The world spun, as if a sun had risen in the dark starry sky. The entire world was burned by the scorching sun, and everything was destroyed. In this world, terrifying flames ignited, releasing endless golden light, vast and mighty, imposing like rainbows, containing endless killing intent. Rays of light intertwined, emitting terrifying heat. It was as if they were going to melt his soul. This mental domain covered every corner of the yard. Dozens of illusory race guards let out shrill screams like pigs being slaughtered. It was impossible for them to withstand the power of this spiritual domain with their soul power alone. It was like a sun sweeping across the sky, destroying everything, destroying the human world. Boom! The guards of the illusion race were all killed. Their souls were shattered, and blood flowed out of their orifices. They fell to the ground with their eyes wide open. It was as if they had lost everything and were just empty shells. Spiritual domain. This is a spiritual domain that only an immortal saint can possess. Damn it, you're an immortal saint. No, you're not, Barty. Who are you? Where did you come from? Why did you invade my illusion world? Finn shouted. At this moment, he finally understood why the Phantom World was suddenly discovered by the human clan. It turned out that a spy had silently infiltrated the Phantom World and even disguised himself as a member of the Phantom race to enter the treasure vault. The other party was even an undying saint. How terrifying was this? An undying saint actually entered the illusion world, yet none of the illusion race saints noticed. If news of this were spread, the entire illusion race would be shaken. Even the ancient saints would take action. At the thought of this, Finn immediately wanted to escape from this spiritual domain. As long as he could shout, he would be able to inform the other saints to appear and surround and kill this intruder. Sadly, it was too late. Sun God Fist. At that moment, Xia Ping punched out, channeling the immense power within his body. He even used the bloodline power of the Golden Crow of Hell and gathered all the strange flames within him. As he punched out, endless strange flames gathered in the depths of his fist, forming a horrifying vortex. Horrifying air currents swirled, collapsed, and strangled, as if forming a black hole. Faintly, there seemed to be the shadow of a flame god standing behind his fist. It was high and mighty, like a god, emitting a destructive flame aura. This punch seemed to have gathered most of Xia Ping's strength. It was extremely violent and could kill anything in its way. He wanted to kill Finn with a single punch to prevent any future troubles. He must not let the other party escape and attract reinforcements. Astral protection technique. Finn roared. At this moment of life and death, he finally reacted. He activated his mystique, and layers of light barriers formed from astral energy surged out. In an instant, 18,000 layers of energy barriers covered his body. They were incomparably thick, like countless stars protecting his body. They contained unparalleled defensive power. Even an all-out attack from an immortal saint would not be able to break through his astral protection technique. This was also the mystique that he was proud of. It was tyrannical beyond compare. It was a pity that he had encountered Xia Ping. This sun god fist contained the power of extreme yang and even the power of the Golden Crow of Hell's flames. It brought with it a world-destroying might, and nothing could block it. Dong! This punch landed on the light ball formed by Finn's astral protection technique. Instantly, the stars exploded on the spot, shattering into pieces. The terrifying power of the Golden Crow of Hell's flames pierced through everything. No matter what it was burned to ashes. Even the armor that Finn was wearing couldn't block it. It was burned through in a breath's time. This power directly bombarded Finn's body. With a boom, Finn let out a mournful scream. His entire body was blown up into a pile of meat paste. Every cell in his body emitted powerful soul waves and howled in pain. Swish, swish, swish. His flesh squirmed as if he wanted to use his immortal body to escape and regenerate. However, before Finn could move, the Golden Crow of Hell's flames immediately burned, enveloping every piece of his flesh and even every cell in his body. Whoosh, in a few breaths' time, Finn's body was burned to ashes. Even his soul was burned into nothingness. Nothing was left. Immortal Saint Finn was dead. As expected, I don't even need the reincarnation brush or other powerful treasures now. I can kill an immortal saint with a single punch. Xia Ping clenched his fists in excitement. After becoming an immortal saint, his magic power was more than 1,000 times stronger. At the same time, the power of the Golden Crow of Hell's flames in his body increased exponentially. Once touched by the Golden Crow of Hell's flames, even the soul of an immortal saint would be burned to death. Its power could even burn space and burn through spatial caverns. Chapter 2198. Bastard, you actually dared to kill Finn. Just at this moment, an angry shout came from afar. It was like thunder shaking the surroundings. Immediately, 3 or 4 figures landed in front of the courtyard, their bodies emitting an undying aura. All 4 of them were immortal sages. One of them was even the outer hall master of the treasury, Jonas. He had already reached the pinnacle of the immortal realm and was only a step away from the immemorial sage realm. The other 3 were the deputy hall masters of the outer hall of the treasury. Including Fiend, there were a total of 4 deputy hall masters. They sensed the intense battle fluctuations here, as if there were undying saints fighting here. They were immediately startled, quickly hurrying over to see what was going on. It could be said that the upper echelons of the treasury's outer palace had turned out in full force. However, they didn't expect to see Xia Ping kill Fiend with a single punch as soon as they arrived. They were shocked and angry at the same time. They wanted to capture this murderer and skin him alive. Barty, no, that's not right. You're not the real Barty. Barty doesn't have the power to kill an undying saint. Tell me, who are you? Why did you invade my illusion world? A deputy palace master shouted angrily as he stared at Xia Ping with a murderous look. He felt that the reason why the human race sages attacked the illusory realm might have something to do with this person. If he could capture this kid alive, he would definitely reap a huge harvest. Zhang Xian could sense that the other party's cultivation was only at the sempiternal realm at the very most. He had yet to comprehend the spatial laws and reach the level of ancient sages. If this person was a saint from ancient times, he would have run away long ago instead of staying in this place. The reason why Fiend had died at the hands of this person was probably because this intruder had some unknown means, or Fiend had already been plotted against by the enemy. If they were a bit more cautious, they wouldn't fear this brat's threat at all. This was the confidence of an undying saint. Could it be that this brat informed the human race to come to the illusion dimension? This brat is the main culprit behind the extermination of our clan? A deputy temple master's face was gloomy as he thought of the foreign invasion. No one would believe that this kid had nothing to do with the human race sage attacking the illusion realm. Even if he's not the culprit, he's definitely related to this matter. He must be one of the accomplices. We can't let this bastard escape. We must capture him. The remaining Vice Hall Master was filled with killing intent. Why are you wasting your breath on him? Cripple him, torture him, and he'll spill everything. Jonas, the Temple Lord, sneered. He didn't waste any time talking to Xia Ping and immediately attacked. In the blink of an eye, he formed a seal with both hands, and tens of thousands of black balls of lightning appeared on his body. Each of the balls of lightning seemed to have the shadow of a demon god. They were ferocious and contained an aura of destruction. Vaguely, these black lightning balls contained the power of the 5 elements, and they mutually reinforced and countered each other, growing and multiplying endlessly. This was his innate ability, 5 elemental demon vanquishing thunder. Its power was not to be underestimated. If it were to explode in an instant, it would be enough to heavily injure an undying saint. Kill. Palace Lord Jonas immediately controlled the black lightning balls to bombard Xia Ping, covering almost the entire area. He attempted to detonate them at the same time, blasting Xia Ping into dust. Fool! What can a mere thunderball do to me? A cold gleam flashed in Xia Ping's eyes. Without any fear, he sent out a palm strike. In an instant, he executed the unparalleled mystic ability in his body. Great yin-yang tablet breaking palm. After advancing to the sempiternal realm, the might of the great yin-yang tablet breaking palm had increased by more than 1,000 times. At this realm, it already possessed the power to seal the void. It contained boundless fortune, and when yin and yang interchanged, it could destroy all matter. This was the true might of the Qianquan faction's unparalleled mystic ability. Immediately, a palm slapped out, manifesting the power of yin and yang. It seemed to have turned into a huge millstone, containing the power to create a world and deduce the heavens. The power of yin and yang reversed, giving rise to a terrifying power. It was as if the space within a radius of 1,000,000 li was grabbed by this hand, the moment it appeared. Nothing could escape from the palm, forming an absolute domain. Dong! The slap landed heavily on Jonas. Before the tens of thousands of black balls of lightning could explode, they were immediately smashed into pieces, completely obliterated, and turned into powder. At the same time, the terrifying palm grabbed onto Jonas, unleashing a terrifying power of yin and yang that tore through everything. Immediately, Jonas let out a shrill scream. His body was also smashed into a pile of meat paste by the palm. His body was split into pieces, and a huge palm print appeared on the ground, leaving behind a terrifying aura that flickered unsteadily. A terrifying aura emanated from the deep crater, piercing through space. Seeing this scene, the other three Vice Hall Masters were so scared that they wet their pants. That was Jonas, a pinnacle sempiternal realm expert. His strength was even higher than theirs. Yet, with just a single palm strike, he had smashed Jonas into meat paste. It was unknown whether he was still alive or not. Even if he wasn't a near ancient sage, he wasn't too far from it. Yet, they had actually tried to deal with such a monster. Wasn't that just courting death? Run. Hurry up and run. This invader is too strong. Inform the elders of the clan immediately. Have them capture and kill this invader. Retreat. Don't fight him to the death. The three Vice Hall Masters immediately fled. They didn't care whether Jonas was dead or alive. In any case, their lives were more important. There was no need to stay here and fight this monster to the death. Trying to escape? Have you asked for my permission? Come out, Bell of Chaos. Xia Ping didn't even bother to look at it. He immediately activated the Bell of Chaos, his natal magic treasure. It immediately floated above his head, surrounded by wisps of chaotic air currents. Dang! 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 In an instant, the Bell of Chaos began to vibrate after being imbued with a tremendous amount of magic power. With its body as the center, terrifying sound waves spread out, affecting the entire outer hall of the treasure vault. This was a terrifying sound wave imbued with the power of a soundstone. It had the destructive power to destroy souls and shatter space. In just a breath's time, wherever these sound waves went, they were filled with a strong destructive power. The entire resting area of the outer hall was immediately shattered. Countless cracks appeared on the ground, and countless restrictions and formations were shattered. It was as if the entire outer hall had been shattered. The three Vice Hall Masters hadn't even moved a few steps when their bodies were immediately struck by the sound waves. They shook back and forth tens of millions of times, producing a terrifying destructive power. No, no, no. Stop. Stop right now. They screamed and panicked. They sensed the impending danger of death. However, even though they sensed danger, there was nothing they could do. The three of them couldn't retaliate at all. Just like that, their bodies were shattered. The terrifying power of the sound waves even directly attacked their souls. With a few cracking sounds, their souls were shattered just like that. Their true souls were shattered, and they died on the spot. Chapter 2199. As expected, the bell's power has increased by more than 100 times. Even an immortal saint can't stop it. It can even shatter space with full power. Xia Ping clenched his fist. He was getting more and more confident in his own power. Even immortal saints were only experts who understood space laws. He could rely on his magic power, which far surpassed other sages of the same level, and his various powerful treasures. With such power, it was not impossible for him to fight against immortal saints. Of course, the exact result would only be known after a fight. There are no more immortal saints in the outer palace. Xia Ping stood in the same place as he spread out his spiritual consciousness. The entire outer hall of the treasury was enveloped by his spiritual domain. Even if there were all sorts of restrictions and array formations, it was of no use as they couldn't resist the penetration of his spiritual domain. Boom! At the same time, he activated his infernal golden crow eye. Rays of dark gold light penetrated the void. The entire outer palace and even the inner palace were exposed to his gaze. Nothing could hide. Indeed, because the human race sages attacked the illusion dimension, Basically, all the sages in the treasure vault came out. Even the many old monsters in the inner hall and the primordial sages temporarily left the treasure vault to fight the enemy outside the illusion dimension. After all, this was a life and death crisis for the illusion race. These old monsters could not just stay in the treasury and do nothing unless they wanted to watch the illusion race perish. Great chance. Seeing this, Xiaoping felt very good. Now that the old monsters in the treasury had left and the few immortal saints guarding the treasury had been killed by him. In other words, this treasury was now his territory. Like a naked beauty, he could do whatever he wanted. Whoosh! First, Xiaoping went to the outer palace. Although the treasures in the outer palace were not as valuable as those in the inner palace, no matter how small a mosquito was, it still had some meat. He would not mind having more treasures on him. With such an opportunity, if he didn't plunder it, how could he be worthy of such a great opportunity? After all, these people from the illusory tribe were all thieves and bandits. Their treasures were obtained by cheating, so he didn't have any psychological burden. Stop, Barty. What are you doing? This is the outer palace. Without the order of the palace master, no one is allowed to come near. Anyone who does will be killed. Do you understand? At this moment, at the entrance of the outer hall, some illusion race guards immediately shouted. When they saw Xiaoping approaching, they immediately wanted to stop him from advancing. They could instinctively sense that this Barty in front of them was very unusual, as if he wanted to take the opportunity to break into the treasury. Scram! Xiaoping glanced at the group of guards. With just a glance, a tyrannical spiritual domain enveloped them. Buzz! In an instant, these illusory tribe guards, no matter how strong they were, could not withstand this kind of spiritual pressure. In an instant, they were knocked unconscious, and some even bled from their orifices. With their strength alone, they were unable to resist the might of an immortal saint, let alone Xiaoping, who far surpassed an immortal saint. One look from him was enough to make them faint. There's actually a restrictive array here. Looks like I'll have to be careful. Xiaoping narrowed his eyes. He used the golden crow's eye of hell to look at the outer hall's treasury. He discovered that this place was also covered in dense array formations. If he used brute force to forcefully break through, it would not be impossible. The problem was that doing so would definitely alert the illusion race's saints outside, which would cause a lot of trouble. After all, there were many illusion race's saints. Any near ancient saint, or even a middle ancient saint, would be enough to pose a threat to him. If it was not necessary, he could not alert the illusion race's saints. Fortunately, he had the golden slime with him. It could swallow the outer hall's walls and enter without a sound, without alerting the restrictive array formations. At the same time, his golden crow's eye of hell could also see through the various nodes of the restrictive array formations. With that thought in mind, Xiaoping did not hesitate and immediately summoned the golden slime. Dong! Suddenly, the golden slime leaped forward and turned into a blob of liquid, covering the outer hall's door. Suddenly, the entire outer hall's door was corroded, creating a hole the size of 3 people. As the corrosion spread, the entire door to the outer palace's treasury was completely devoured by the golden slimes. It seemed that this door was also made of special cosmic materials, and to the golden slimes, it could be considered a delicious meal. Whoosh! Xiaoping immediately walked through the door and entered the outer hall's treasury. Suddenly, as if he had entered a dimensional space, he found that the outer hall's treasury was incomparably huge, covering an area larger than a large planet. My God, we're rich! We're rich! This time we're really rich. This is worthy of being the illusion race's treasury. I didn't expect there to be so many treasures. Corinne also saw this scene. His eyes immediately lit up. He was extremely excited. Even though it had followed the Saints of the Stars for countless years, it had never seen so many treasures. No matter what, this was the treasury of a large clan. After countless years of accumulation, even if there was a lot of consumption, the treasures stored were still quite shocking. It was simply an astronomical figure. My God, there are too many medicinal pills here. Fury Spirit Pill, Chi Spirit Pill, Elemental Spirit Pill, Power Spirit Pill. Wind Spirit Pill, Hunter Turns Pill, Scarlet Blood Pill, Soul Cleansing Pill, Fire Condensing Pill, Wound Healing Pill. Greenox was also very excited. He found a space to store medicinal pills. He was very familiar with the different types of medicinal pills. Every one of them was incomparably precious. However, the quantity of each kind of medicinal pill was very large, at least reaching tens of billions of them. These medicinal pills were densely stacked together. It was just like a mountain. He couldn't imagine how much wealth the illusion race had to be able to refine so many medicinal pills. Moreover, this was just the outer hall's medicinal pill treasury. That's all. It was only refined for the sake of training the illusion race's descendants. It was simply not the most precious treasure of the illusion race. Not only are there many medicinal pills, there are also many kinds of universe ores: iron essence, copper essence, silver essence, dark stone, agate horn, lapis lazuli, golden fiery stone, fire melting crystal, and so on. They're all extremely precious ores belonging to the first-class refining materials. Corinne was very excited. He found a space to store refining materials and found that these universe ores were simply piled up like a mountain, each of them up to tens of thousands of tons, some even millions of tons, as if they didn't cost money. It could be imagined that the illusion race's wealth was absolutely not a small matter. Even some human supercountries might not be able to compare to the countless wealth accumulated by the illusion race. Mine, all of them are mine. Xiaoping's eyes also lit up. He felt his blood boiling. He waved his hand, and all these treasures were moved into the space of the mountain river pearl. Not even a hair was left behind. Chapter 2200. Half an hour later, all the treasures in the outer hall of the illusion race's treasury had been removed by Xiaoping. Now, the entire outer hall was empty. Even the door had been torn down. The loot was even cleaner than one's face. We are rich enough to rival a country. Now we are really rich enough to rival a country. The Green Ox was extremely excited. Even if its old master was an ancient sage and had accumulated an astonishing amount of wealth, it could not be compared to the treasury of a race. Not to mention the famous illusion race. Even if most of the wealth of this race was placed in the hands of the illusion race's sages, leaving only a small part of the treasury was still quite amazing. If these treasures were taken out and sold, they could definitely buy dozens of star fields. Even the treasures in the outer hall are so amazing. The treasures in the inner hall are even more amazing. Xiaoping, let's hurry to the inner hall's treasury and plunder it. Corinne's eyes were red. As the saying goes, a horse will not get fat without night grass, and a man will not get rich without a windfall. Now was clearly a chance to get rich overnight. If they missed this opportunity, they might not get it again. They could accumulate the treasures of an ancient sage in countless years. Who knew how many people would be scared to death if they knew about it? If they did not plunder the treasures when the illusion race's sages were busy, then when would they plunder? Okay. Xiaoping nodded. Of course, he also wanted to plunder the inner hall. After all, the inner hall's treasury still had the sound stone that he had been dreaming of. It was of great benefit to improving the power of the Chaos Cauldron, so he could not miss it. But before he left, he had to leave some marks. After all, as a guest, it was not good and polite to leave without a trace. Thinking of this, he immediately wrote a few lines of words on one of the walls of the treasury. I heard that the illusion race was rich, so rich that it could rival a country. My heart yearned for it. Now that I have seen it in the treasury, I know that the rumors are not as good as meeting them in person. My heart is overwhelmed with emotion, and I admit defeat. Because I am short of money, my life is hard, and I have to feed the old and young. I also have to support 3,000 wives and concubines. I am in a precarious situation. I have no choice but to borrow treasures from the illusion race. Please rest assured, I'm not a person who goes back on his word. I am borrowing treasures purely out of helplessness. If I have a better life in the future, I will definitely return the treasures and even visit to thank you. There is no need to worry. When Green Ox and Corinne saw these words, the corners of their mouths couldn't help but twitch. They had already plundered all the treasures of others, but they still dared to leave words in the treasury. This was clearly slapping the illusion race's face and it was the kind of slapping them to death. He did not know what kind of expression the saints of the illusion tribe would have when they saw these words. Perhaps all of them would be so angry that they might even faint. After doing all this, Xiaoping dusted his hands and immediately flew towards the inner hall of the treasury without any hesitation. A few minutes later, Xiaoping crossed countless layers of space and finally arrived at the inner hall of the treasury. This was an independent dimensional world, and a huge palace stood in the middle of this dimensional world. At this moment, there was no one left in this dimensional world. The dozen or so sages who were originally guarding this place had left and headed outside the illusion realm to fight against the human race sage coalition army. It could be said that this place was an empty nest. Little Gold, swallow the door of this palace. Xiaoping ordered the golden slime. Slime. Hearing this, the golden slime immediately rushed over and turned into a mass of golden liquid, instantly wrapping the huge door of the inner hall. Crash! Suddenly, the door, which was refined from precious cosmic materials, was immediately swallowed by the golden slime, and all the power was swallowed up by it. Vaguely, the power of the golden slime seemed to be a lot stronger than before, and it was constantly growing. Bang! When the door of the treasury was swallowed, the appearance of the inner hall was revealed. Immediately, violent energy gushed out from the depths of the inner hall, seemingly distorting the space. One after another, restrictive formations appeared in it. Even if there were no saints guarding this place, the restrictive formations left behind in the inner hall were enough to make countless sages flinch. Hundreds and thousands of restrictive formations overlapped, emitting a terrifying power that distorted the space and even made time stand still. What? In an instant, Xiaoping was caught off guard and was surrounded by the power of these restrictive formations. He suddenly found that his whole body could not move, as if it had come to a standstill. This was not a powerful binding force that could not be broken with brute force at all. This involved the change of the law of time, and it was the power of a higher-level law. It was as if time had stopped at this moment, unable to move forward or backward. Oh no, there's a time-stop formation in the inner hall of the treasury. Once you step in, all time will stop. Unless you are a sage from the Middle Ages who has comprehended the law of time, you will not be able to break out of this restrictive formation. The green bull could not help but cry out in shock. Even if there were no sages guarding this treasury, with the power of the restrictive formation, it would be able to stop countless people with ulterior motives. Time-stop formation. Xiaoping was also shocked. He did not expect there to be such a terrifying formation in the world. With the emergence of the law of time, he did not have any power to resist, no matter how strong his powers were. Suddenly, he felt the reincarnation brush on his body tremble, as if sensing that he was in danger. It immediately flew out from his body, emitting waves of terrifying reincarnation power, distorting the void. It flew out and pointed at the void. With a thud, with Xiaoping at the center, all the laws of the universe instantly collapsed and were completely destroyed. It was as if all the restraints of the laws were forcefully torn apart. Very good. Seeing this, Xiaoping's spirit was lifted. Fortunately, he had a powerful treasure like the reincarnation brush with him and was not affected by the time-stop formation at all. Otherwise, he would be in big trouble. Die! He didn't waste any time. Taking advantage of this gap, he held the reincarnation brush in his hand and used the golden crow's eyes of hell to see all the restrictive spells in the inner hall of the treasure vault, as well as the spell formation lines branded in the depths of the void. In an instant, he saw the countless nodes of the restrictive formations, which were also the weaknesses of the formations. Xiaoping immediately rushed over and pointed the reincarnation brush gently. Terrifying rays of light shot out one after another, piercing through everything. Nothing could stop it. Dong, dong, dong. Instantly, all the restrictive formations were torn apart easily. Without the support of the nodes, they could not absorb the energy in the void. The entire restrictive formations collapsed just like that, leaving no power behind. In an instant, the entire treasury was completely safe. Most of the restrictive formations were destroyed. Chapter 2201. It finally disintegrated. Xiaoping heaved a sigh of relief, a relaxed expression on his face. After breaking the restriction array of the inner hall of the treasury, there was no power that could stop him. Of course, he did not destroy the warning restriction array here. He only destroyed the defensive array, so he did not alarm the sages guarding the inner hall of the treasury, and they would not find out that there was a problem in this place. Whoosh! Xiaoping did not hesitate and immediately entered the inner hall. First, he saw a huge mountain made of elixirs, towering into the clouds, exuding endless vitality. It was as if at this moment, he had fallen into a sea of vitality. With a little breath, it seemed that his magic power had improved greatly, obtaining endless benefits. Oh my God, this is longevity elixir. There are so many longevity elixirs. This illusion race is really rich. Seeing this mountain of elixirs, the green ox could not help but cry out in shock. Corinne also opened his mouth, speechless. Longevity elixir? What kind of elixir is this? Xiaoping asked curiously. Longevity elixir. That is a sage-level elixir for sages to condense magic power. It is extremely precious. The Azure Ox said excitedly. It's a sage-tier pill that can only be refined from the energy of the universe's origin source and supplemented with 108 types of precious spirit herbs. It can directly temper one's body, strengthen one's magic power, and even activate sage artifacts. These auxiliary elixirs are nothing. Any sage can get a lot of them. The most important is the energy of the universe's origin. This is the purest energy. Sages can only absorb a limited amount of energy every day. Corinne sighed with emotion. He said that if sages want to quickly improve their magic power, they can only take sage-level elixirs like longevity elixir, which can save a lot of effort in condensing magic power. If there is no longevity elixir, they can only rely on years of hard training. The problem is that refining longevity elixir is not so simple. It is very difficult for ordinary sages to communicate with the origin of the universe and absorb the energy of the origin, and they do not get much. It is not enough for their own training. How can they use it to refine elixirs? Only the top forces in the universe can absorb a lot of the energy of the universe's origin, and they are qualified to be so extravagant and refine countless longevity elixirs. In the past, in order to get some longevity elixirs, its old master, Myriad Star Sages, paid a great price and spent a lot of resources to buy them. It was precisely because it had experienced poverty that it knew how incredible it was to possess so many longevity pills. Ordinary, undying sages would at most get a few dozen or 100 longevity pills, even if they worked themselves to the bone. Moreover, they would have to live frugally, living a life where they couldn't even make ends meet. But right now, these longevity pills were laid out before him like a huge mountain. There were at least tens of billions of them, and it was an incomparably vast amount. Just how rich and extravagant was this? Compared to the illusory tribe, his old master was worse than a beggar. It now truly understood what it meant to be a nouveau riche and what it meant to be as wealthy as a nation. It's no wonder that the illusory race has so many saints. With so many longevity pills, they can naturally squander them at will and cultivate an endless stream of experts. The green ox could not help but sigh. This was because the longevity elixir was not only extremely beneficial to saints, it was even more beneficial to mortals. Just one longevity elixir was enough to make up for thousands of years of effort in condensing spiritual energy. Of course, the longevity pill was also very important to the sages, so they would not easily give it away. Even so, with such a large amount of longevity elixir, it was enough for them to cultivate many geniuses of the illusory race. Even the sages' cultivation would soar because of these longevity elixirs, surpassing the sages of other races. How did the illusory race do it? How could they concoct so many longevity elixirs? Xiaoping asked. It's probably because the illusory race has a peerless saint artifact, Mist Pearl. The green ox said. The power of a peerless saint artifact doesn't just lie in its strength, and unimaginable abilities. At the same time, it can communicate with the origin of the universe at any time and absorb large amounts of origin energy. The illusory race probably borrowed the power of the mist pearl to absorb large amounts of universe origin energy every day. That's why they have the right to be so extravagant and concoct so many longevity elixirs. It voiced out its guess. I see. Xiaoping finally understood. No wonder the peerless saint artifact could suppress the destiny of a race for hundreds of millions of years. It was the greatest guarantee for the continuation of a race. This was not only because the peerless saint artifact was extremely powerful, but also because it could communicate with the origin of the universe, absorb a large amount of origin energy, and refine countless longevity elixirs. With this endless supply of resources, wouldn't it be a piece of cake to nurture countless experts? This was the foundation of a race. And the reason why these old monsters of the illusory race were willing to stay in the treasury to guard was probably to obtain these longevity elixirs, which could absorb the origin energy of the universe at any time and anywhere. Plunder everything. Thinking of this, how could Xiaoping hold back? With a wave of his hand, he immediately plundered the mountains of longevity elixirs piled up and put them all into the space of his mountain river pearl. When the Green Ox and Corinne saw this scene, they were extremely excited and moved. It was worth enduring for such a long time in the illusory race. Now is the time for harvest. They also couldn't help but wonder what the saints of the illusory race would think if they knew about this. If such a huge amount of wealth disappeared, they would probably go crazy. 10 minutes later, these longevity elixirs were all plundered by Xiaoping. Look, there's another space in front. There are a lot of rare materials of the illusory race placed there. The sound grain stones should be there. Let's take them all away. Corin shouted. He also helped to plunder treasures everywhere. With a whoosh, Xiaoping's figure flickered and immediately came to another place in the inner hall. Sure enough, there were a lot of rare materials placed in this place, including the sound grain stones. And these sound grain stones were also piled up like a mountain, at least 10 tons. Who knows where these saints of the illusory race found them? But this was an immeasurable wealth. Because these cosmic-level rare materials couldn't be bought even with money, the saints wouldn't take these rare materials out to sell. They would only barter them or use them for themselves. My God, Master, look, these are cosmic-level gems that contain unimaginable power. Life Stone, Soul Stone, Thunder God Stone, Celestial Stone, Object God Stone, Sea Calming Stone. Crazy. The illusory race is really crazy. Where do they find so many cosmic-level gems? The Green Ox couldn't help but scream. Because these cosmic-level gems, even the ancient saints might not be able to obtain them. These were all top-grade treasures that could only be found by luck. Chapter 2202. I didn't expect there to be so many cosmic gems. Seeing the gems above, Xiaoping's eyes suddenly lit up. Life Stone, as long as one has a breath, as long as the Life Stone is by his side, he can be saved. It can provide a steady stream of vitality and can be regarded as a life-saving gem. Soul Stone, this is a gem that could devour soul energy and store soul energy. It has the same ability as the soul-devouring beast and can even slowly increase the owner's soul power. Thunder Godstone, once you hold this gem, you can immediately comprehend the origin power of thunder and can even cultivate the thunder god body, controlling all the power of thunder. Celestial Stone is an extremely hard gem with a powerful, indestructible characteristic. It is suitable to be refined into a defensive magic weapon that can isolate the dual attacks of magic power and soul. As for Divine Stone, it is a spatial gem that contains a special spatial world inside. Many magic weapons of the blessed land of heavenly lands are based on Divine Stone. There is also Sea Calming Stone. With this gem, you can walk in the ocean as if walking on flat ground, become the lord of the ocean, and suppress all ocean storms. It is extremely powerful. It can be said that these gems are extremely precious and special cosmic gems that are only born under certain special conditions and circumstances. They are extremely rare. If the golden slime devours any of the gems mentioned above, it can evolve into a special golden slime. Slime. At this time, the golden slime also sensed the aura of these cosmic gems and excitedly flew out of Xiaoping's body, pouncing on the pile of gems. With a few chomps, it directly swallowed these cosmic gems. Wait! Seeing this, Azurox panicked and immediately wanted to stop it, but it was already too late. In just 1 second, the golden slime devoured these cosmic gems cleanly. Sigh, what a reckless waste, what a reckless waste. It actually ate them all. Any gem can be refined into a powerful sacred tool, but now it's all gone. Corinne also beat his chest, feeling extremely regretful. These cosmic gems are basically one of the main materials for refining sacred tools. Often by relying on the special ability of these cosmic gems, all kinds of powerful sacred tools can be refined. But now, they were all eaten by the golden slime. Isn't this a reckless waste? Forget it. Let Xiao Jin eat them. It will have all kinds of abilities. Xiaoping smiled faintly and didn't mind at all. He knew about the golden slime's innate divine ability. Nothing it couldn't swallow. As long as he swallowed these cosmic gems, he would be able to obtain the corresponding ability. It wasn't a bad thing to be eaten by the golden slime. Suddenly, after swallowing these cosmic gems, the golden slime's body underwent a huge change. The gems fused into its body as if they had become a part of it. Boom! In an instant, the golden slime transformed into a huge golden sword. 5 to 6 special gems appeared on the hilt of the sword, emitting colorful brilliance. It was extremely luxurious and extravagant. With one look, one could tell that this was a priceless treasure sword, the kind that was worth cities. Slime. The golden slime seemed to be very excited. After devouring these cosmic gems, it felt its power rising steadily. At the same time, its body also surged with many powerful abilities. Once it completely devoured the power of these gems, it would be able to advance to a mid-grade sacred artifact. At the same time, it would also be able to possess the special powers of these gems. Come back. Xiaoping waved his hand and said to the golden slime. Slime. With a swoosh, the golden slime returned to Xiaoping's side and turned into a bangle, coiling around his wrist. At the same time, the bangle had undergone a huge change. It was no longer ordinary, but had 6 gems engraved on it. Xiaoping looked around at his surroundings. Other than these cosmic gems, there were many other crafting materials as well. Even though they weren't as valuable as the cosmic gems, they were still rare materials that could be used to craft sacred weapons. Without holding back, Lin Fan plundered everything clean. Other than these crafting materials, he had also found a place to store spirit medicines. This place seemed to be a paradise for spirit medicines, with a large number of sage medicines planted within. It can't be, right? To think that there would be so many sage medicines. Xiaoping was dumbfounded, unable to believe his eyes. That was because there were a total of 800 stalks of sage medicines planted within this spirit medicine field. Every single stalk of sage medicine was at least 10 million years old, and they were filled with a powerful spirit. Even when they saw Xiaoping coming over, these sage medicines seemed to be a loss of what to do and transmitted a panicked emotion. This was because they had never seen Xiaoping before. It was obvious that their spirit was extremely high, and they were about to possess their own souls and intelligence. One stalk of sage medicine after another exuded an endless amount of medicinal qi. It was as though as long as one stayed in this environment, they would be immune to all diseases, and their lifespan would be prolonged, and their cultivation would be constantly strengthened. Other than the sage medicines that had been taken away by the sages, this could be considered as the entire inventory of the illusion race. Oh my God, there are so many sage medicines. Where did these sages of the illusion race plunder them from? Master, dig them all out. Dig out all of these sage medicines. Don't let a single one go. The green ox was so excited that he was speechless. He felt that this place was simply heaven, because not only were the sage medicines astonishing, but there were also many types of them. If any alchemist were to witness this scene, they would probably faint from excitement. "Oh, bad guys have come in. We're gonna be eaten, run. Help, help, there's a bad guy coming to eat us." The stalks of saintly herbs cried out loudly, losing their heads out of fear and running away. It was a pity that this place was not big, so they could only flee in all directions like headless flies, unable to escape in the end. "Don't run, all of you come in." Xiaoping smiled and grabbed with his hand. Instantly, a huge hand that covered the sky and the sun enveloped the entire space. All the chi of heaven and earth seemed to stop at this moment. Boom! The huge hand grabbed lightly, and instantly, all the sage medicines in the soil on the ground were uprooted. The stars moved, and in an instant, they were pulled into the space of the pearl of mountain and river. "I'll go take care of them and imprison them all, so that they don't run around." The green ox was burning with anxiety. He did not want to stay in the treasury any longer, and immediately went to grab these sage medicines, so that they would not run around in the space of the pearl of mountain and river. "It's a pity that I didn't get any sage tools." Xiaoping looked around, but did not see any sage tools. Perhaps because of the disaster of extermination, in order to deal with the attacking human sages, the sages of the illusion race had brought all the sage tools out. After all, at this time, one more sage tool meant one more combat power. They would not waste their sage tools in this place, so they had to make the best use of them. Chapter 2203. Are there no more treasures? 10 minutes later, Xiaoping sensed the entire treasury and found that all the treasures in this place had been plundered by him. There was not a single treasure left. Just as he was about to take the opportunity to escape, he sensed something. The golden crow's eye of hell seemed to have sensed something. Wait, there's another mysterious space here. He instinctively sensed that the space in front of him was distorted and filled with dense spatial energy. It was as if time and space had folded together. What is this place? Xiaoping narrowed his eyes and walked towards the depths of the treasury. He suddenly found that there was an independent space in front of him, which was also the core of the treasury. There were even densely packed restrictive formations set up in this space. One after another, restrictive chains sealed this space. It was airtight, as if they were facing a great enemy. One must know that this treasury was guarded by primordial saints, but this mysterious space was still so tightly guarded. One could imagine how important this place was. Even the primordial saints attached great importance to this place. Golden Crow's Eye of Hell. Thinking of this, Xiaoping did not hesitate. He activated his eyes and immediately saw through the layers of restrictive formations in this dimensional space. He immediately saw what was in this space. Suddenly, what appeared before him was a boundless void. It was dark, cold, and eerie, as if it was a space of nothingness. Nothing existed, and it was filled with a deathly aura. And it was not that there was nothing in this dark void. There was a huge black coffin floating in the air. The surface of the black coffin was covered with densely packed and twisted blood-colored runes. It was as if a supreme scripture had been engraved in the depths of the coffin. Thick chains of order locked the entire coffin, making it impenetrable and extremely sturdy. It was as if these things were suppressing the most terrifying thing in this world, like Pandora's box. Once released, it would be earth-shattering and the end of the world. It was extremely terrifying. What is this thing? Xiaoping's heart skipped a beat. His divine sense seeped into the coffin, trying to sense the specific situation of the black coffin. But before his divine sense could get close, a deep, terrifying, and cold aura spread out from the depths of the coffin. This aura was like an evil spirit, instantly swallowing his divine sense. What? Immediately, Xiaoping was shaken. He felt as if he had been entangled by an evil spirit from hell, and a piece of flesh was bitten off from his body. There was even a mysterious and deep power that tore through the air, corroding the void and penetrating the layers of space. Even the endless space-time could not obstruct it, as it instantly entered the depths of his sea of consciousness. Curse, curse, curse! In the blink of an eye, a terrifying sound came from the depths of Xiaoping's soul, vibrating back and forth. It was as if a terrifying creature from the depths of hell was offering sacrifices and cursing him. This power was darker than the 9 underworlds, more terrifying than hell, more vicious than the Blood Sea, and more profound than a black hole. It seemed to be the most fundamental power of darkness that could corrode everything. Rumble, wave after wave of cursed power, seeped into Xia Ping's limbs and bones. As if they had a life of their own, they turned into black worms that burrowed into every cell in his body. Powerful resentment, and dark energy covered his entire body. Vaguely, his body released a foul stench, as if it was the celestial 5 declines. Even his undying body couldn't resist this, countless cells quickly aging and dying like this, having endless life force devoured. Courting death. A cold light flashed in Xia Ping's eyes. He could feel how terrifying this curse power was. This was no longer as simple as a divine ability. It was something close to the laws of the universe. Ordinary undying saints couldn't resist it at all. Once they came into contact with it, they would die without a doubt. Even their souls would be cursed and completely deteriorate. Unfortunately, he wasn't an ordinary undying saint. Infernal golden crow fire burn. Thinking of this, Xia Ping activated the infernal golden crow bloodline in his body. The powerful bloodline power started to burn, and his entire body turned into a scorching fireball, like an eternal sun. An ancient, dark, mighty, chaotic, noble, and unfathomable aura surged out from his body, as if he was a terrifying fiend god born from chaos. This was a flame that came from the depths of hell, symbolizing death, life, the 6 paths, and reincarnation. There was nothing it couldn't burn, and it wouldn't extinguish even after billions of years. Everything would be destroyed. Walala, in the blink of an eye, the flame burned every corner of Xia Ping's body. The curse aura that was trying to corrode the cells in his body immediately sizzled. As if it had met its nemesis, the curse aura rapidly retreated like a receding tide. Vaguely, from the depths of the void, there seemed to be miserable howls of devils, begging for mercy, howling and howling. But no matter what, the curse aura was immediately burned to ashes, turning into wisps of black smoke that disappeared from the universe. Bang, bang, bang. After such stimulation and the pressure of life and death, Xia Ping could feel the infernal golden crow cells in his body awakening at a crazy rate. 10 million, 20 million, 30 million, 50 million, and in the end, 100 million infernal golden crow cells were awakened. He could feel the magic power and strength in his body rising by a notch. System, what is this thing? Xia Ping asked with a hint of shock in his eyes. After advancing to the sempiternal realm, there were fewer and fewer things that could threaten his life. He was practically undying now, but just now he had only come into contact with it slightly. He hadn't even gotten close to it, but he had already been killed by a wisp of curse aura emanating from the black coffin. If not for the fact that he possessed the infernal golden crow bloodline, he would have long been cursed to death and fallen into the endless abyss. For such a terrifying thing to be suppressed in the deepest part of the Illusion tribe's treasury and guarded by more than a dozen powerful sages, one could imagine how terrifying this thing was. Perhaps there was a primordial sage suppressing this place, not because of the other treasures in the Inner Hall's treasury, but because of this black coffin. He felt that this thing was definitely extraordinary. It was terrifying to the extreme and possessed the power to destroy the world. This is a Khanate treasure known as the Cursed Black Coffin, the system replied. It contains the most evil and dark power in the universe. It has endless resentment and malice. It is an extremely evil item and can be said to be the source of all evil. Once this black coffin is opened, endless curse aura will surge out and corrode the universe, causing countless star regions to fall into a land of death. It will never dissipate and cannot be purified. It is even more terrifying than the invasion of the abyss. Chapter 2204. The Source of All Evil. Xia Ping's eyes were filled with awe. An image appeared in his mind. When the cursed black coffin opened, endless resentment and curses gushed out, turning an entire star region into boundless darkness. All the suns, moons, and stars decayed and turned into dark planets. All the land turned into demonic soil and poisonous swamps. All living creatures were cursed and turned into zombies and demons, like the Walking Dead. Even demons from hell and demons from the abyss could not withstand such power. This was the power of death, bringing death and darkness. This was the end of Doomsday. Where did the sage of the Illusion tribe find this thing? Xiaoping was amazed. He felt that the cursed black coffin was the real trump card of the Illusion tribe. Once the power of the cursed black coffin was released, the power was unimaginable. Even a sage would die completely. There was no way to withstand it. Of course, the power of the cursed black coffin did not distinguish between friend and foe. Once it was used, even the Illusion tribe would be in trouble. Therefore, the Illusion tribe would not make a move. However, if they were faced with the threat of extinction, the Illusion tribe would have no choice but to use it and perish together with the enemy. I did not expect the Illusion tribe to have such a trump card. Fortunately, I found it. Suddenly, Xiaoping felt lucky. If the power of the cursed black coffin was released during the war, who knew how many human sages would be killed? Even if it did not kill all the human sages, it would still cause great casualties to the human race. It had to be said that although the Illusion tribe was not as strong as the human race, their trump card was too terrifying. It could definitely cause great harm to any race. No, I have to take the cursed black coffin away. Otherwise, it might give the Illusion tribe a chance to turn the tables. Xiaoping squinted his eyes. He immediately realized the importance of the cursed black coffin to the Illusion tribe. If such a thing was used at a critical moment, it would be really incredible. If he took the cursed black coffin away, it would be equivalent to cutting off one of the Illusion tribe's limbs. It was equivalent to the countries on Earth in his previous life not having nuclear bombs. They would no longer be a threat. However, it was not easy to take the cursed black coffin away. After all, if he got too close, the terrifying power of the curse would be transmitted and the enemy would be cursed to death. If he were to get too close, he might not be able to withstand it with his infernal golden crow bloodline. He saw that the black coffin was engraved with dense runes, and each rune contained a terrifying power. At a glance, he could tell that it was at least refined by an immemorial saint. Every single saint-grade talisman contained world-shaking power, containing the laws of time and space. They linked up with the origin of the universe and formed the laws of the world, fiercely suppressing the black coffin, not allowing any of its power to leak out. Xiaoping did not know how many talismans were sealed in the black coffin, but he guessed that it had taken countless years of effort from the Illusion race's primordial sage. He had been guarding the inner hall of the treasure vault all this time to refine talismans to suppress the black coffin. Even so, the cursed black coffin constantly emitted a terrifying curse power. The saint-grade talismans engraved on the coffin were still corroded, turning into black talismans and cursed talismans. Moreover, with the passage of time, many small cracks appeared on these saint-grade talismans, and they were constantly strengthening. In time, the cursed black coffin would break through the seal sooner or later, and even the primordial sage would not be able to suppress it. Thinking of this, Xiaoping immediately asked, "System, do you have any way to seal this cursed black coffin so that I can take it away?" There are several ways, but according to the host's financial resources, the best way now is to exchange for a creation orb. It can transform into a world that can contain and isolate everything. The system replied, "If the cursed black coffin is placed in the creation orb, it can isolate the curse aura emitted by the cursed black coffin and not let it leak out casually. Moreover, it is a one-time item and cannot be broken. If the host breaks the creation orb, he will need to exchange for a new one to continue the seal." "Oh, there's such a way, but how much hatred does a creation orb need?" Xiaoping raised his eyebrows. "It needs 100 hatred crystals." The system said. "What?" The corner of Xiaoping's mouth twitched. 100 hatred crystals? What a joke. He had worked so hard to offend who knew how many people, but it was difficult to earn 100 hatred crystals. Now, just a creation orb, and it was a one-time item, required 100 hatred crystals. This price was too exaggerated. Is there no other way? For example, something that can solve this problem permanently? Xiaoping asked, unwilling to give up. Yes, as long as the host can completely refine this cursed black coffin and comprehend the essence of the curse law, this problem can be solved permanently, and the power of the cursed black coffin will not leak out again. The system said, but the host's strength is too weak now, and there is no way to control such a congenital magic treasure. Once you try to refine it, only death awaits. Your soul will be eroded by the power of the curse and completely wither. Forget it, then. Exchange for a creation orb, Xiaoping said helplessly. He did not know how long it would take for his strength to grow to the point where he could refine the cursed black coffin. Although 100 hatred crystals were a lot, it was worth it to obtain this cursed black coffin. Yes, host as you wish, the system replied. Boom! In the next second, a white sphere about the size of a fist appeared in front of Xiaoping. This is the creation orb? Xiaoping's heart skipped a beat, and he immediately felt a mental connection with this white light sphere. This white light sphere seemed to be a complete world, with complete world laws. It was extremely sturdy, and it could isolate all auras and power. However, there seemed to be nothing in this world. It was empty, like a huge cage. With this magic treasure, it would not be a problem to seal the cursed black coffin. Go! Thinking of this, Xiaoping did not hesitate and immediately broke the restrictive formation. Under the control of his mind, the creation orb of legend entered this empty space with a whoosh. There did not seem to be any traps or restrictive formations protecting the space. This was probably because the saints of the illusion tribe believed that no one could enter the treasure vault. Even if they did, they would die if they tried to get close to the cursed black coffin. They would be eroded by the power of the curse until they died. The cursed black coffin itself was the strongest defense. Unfortunately, they did not know that Xiaoping had a secret treasure like the creation orb that could seal the cursed black coffin. Whoosh! In the blink of an eye, the creation orb approached the cursed black coffin. Before the cursed black coffin could react, the light sphere swallowed it completely and integrated it into its inner world. Boom! Sensing this power, the cursed black coffin immediately exploded. A terrifying dark curse power exploded, trying to tear the creation orb apart. Unfortunately, no matter how hard it tried, it could not break through the absolute barrier of the creation orb. Chapter 2205. Bang! 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 The cursed black coffin, which was sealed in the creation orb, exploded with a terrifying black aura. It contained darkness, curses, evilness, resentment, and other powers. It transformed into a giant hand and slammed into the inner wall of the creation orb. Suddenly, thousands of terrifying hands slammed madly, making banging sounds. They tried to smash and erode the creation orb. The black hands were like ghostly hands frightening people. If they really broke out, they would probably explode with terrifying power and kill countless creatures. Unfortunately, the power of the creation orb isolated everything. No matter how terrifying the cursed black coffin was, it couldn't break out and was trapped in the creation orb. Whoosh! The next second, Xiaoping immediately took back the creation orb and it landed in his hand. As expected, the natural treasure, cursed black coffin, was sealed. He was very satisfied. After sealing the cursed black coffin, it was equivalent to cutting off one of the arms of the illusion race. He had lost most of their trump cards and was no longer a threat. Furthermore, if he were to obtain this connate artifact and refine it completely, he would probably be able to obtain an endless amount of energy. With the terrifying power of the curse, he would be able to move unhindered throughout the universe without any worries. Even if he encountered a powerful enemy, it could be a trump card. All right, there are no more treasures here. Let's run. After putting the creation orb into the space of the Pearl of Mountain River, Xiaoping wanted to leave the illusion realm. After all, a terrible war had happened here. He didn't know what would happen next. As the saying went, a gentleman doesn't stand under a collapsing wall. There is no need for him to stay in this dangerous place. Wait, The space-time of this illusion realm has been sealed. I can't leave it all. Xiaoping realized that the space-time around the illusion realm had been sealed by a powerful treasure. The surroundings were suppressed by layers of worlds. There was no way to escape through space. Although he could use the space of the Pearl of Mountain River to leave, the Pearl of Mountain River had to stay in the illusion realm. This treasure could also be found by other sages and obtained by others. It was not worth it. Forget it. I'll stay in the illusion realm for now. I'll leave after the war is over. He touched his chin. With the ability of the formless mask, he could change. Even an invincible sage wouldn't be able to find him. Even if he stayed in the illusion realm, he wouldn't be found by others. Whoosh. Thinking of this, Xiaoping's figure flashed, and he temporarily left the treasury. He went to a corner of the illusion world and hid. Right, let's see how the battle is going. After hiding, he wanted to know the situation of the battle between the illusion race and the human race. He immediately activated the infernal golden crow's eye and shot out 2 terrifying beams of golden light that penetrated the void, revealing an eternal pressure. The 2 supreme eyes seemed to have traversed countless dimensions and dimensions, descending outside the illusion realm. Rumble. Instantly, Xiaoping saw the situation outside the illusory world. At this moment, the void outside the illusory world had already turned into a super battlefield with countless sages fighting it out. Among them, the immortal sages were merely soldiers. The true main force was the primordial sages and even the invincible sages. The other sages had no chance of interfering in such a high-level battle. Wave after wave of terrifying power swept out, as if they were condensed from the laws of the universe. They contained the terrifying power of space-time, and any one of them was enough to destroy him. A war of this level was not something that Xiaoping could intervene in. With his current cultivation, he would probably die the moment he entered the center of the battlefield. Xiaoping's heart skipped a beat. He suddenly realized that there were a few extremely powerful auras outside the battlefield. It was as if they were the universe themselves, and all the laws revolved around them. They were so strong that it made one's hair stand on end. They were all invincible sages. These were definitely terrifying figures at the level of the human race patriarchs. However, they did not make a move. Instead, they were watching from the side, as if they were guarding against the illusion race's desperate actions and unpredictable dangers. The only human invincible sage who made a move was his aura that pierced through the sky and shook the 9 heavens. He fought against the illusion race's 8 primordial sages and 1 invincible sage, all by himself. Xiaoping also knew this person. It was his master, Dark North Sage. Master is here too. Xiaoping was very surprised. However, he also felt how powerful Dark North Sage was. He could fight against 8 primordial sages and 1 invincible sage, all by himself. One could only imagine how powerful Dark North Sage was. Right now, the human race had the absolute upper hand. It was not just the human race sages who made a move. The sages of the other races were also beating the illusion race sages while they were down. Damn it, we can't let this go on. We can't let this damned Dark North Sage tangle with us. Otherwise, all the low-level sages of the illusion race will die. The one who spoke was the illusion race patriarch Oleg. He had reached the invincible sage level and was also the strongest expert of the illusion race. He was the true pillar of the race. His face was very ugly. He could see that Dark North Sage was not using his full strength. He was only fighting with them. His goal was to restrain the strongest of the illusion race. It could be said that Dark North Sage was enough to restrain them. As time passed, the sages of the illusion race would all be killed. After all, the human race had the absolute advantage. The illusion race was absolutely no match for them. Once those low-level sages were killed, he would really be the commander of the army. Not to mention, there were still a few old fogies of the human race watching from the side. The reason why they had not made a move was that they were guarding against the illusion race's desperate actions. They were probably going to use a killing move that would kill them all. The other reason was probably to train Dark North Sage. The thought of this made Oleg even angrier. He was the patriarch of the illusion race, an invincible sage who stood at the peak of the universe. But now, he was being used as a trial target. It was outrageous. Patriarch, what should we do? The other 8 sages asked. Fight him. Use all your strength and injure him in an instant. Then use the peerless sage treasure, the mist sea pearl, to escape. We can't fight him head-on. The illusion race Patriarch Oleg was very calm. He knew that sages of this level were very difficult to kill. Not to mention, there were a few old fogies of the human race watching from the side. How could he kill Dark North Sage? So the only way out for the illusion race was to escape. If they continued to fight, they would all die. Yes, Patriarch. The 8 sages of the illusion race had a murderous look in their eyes. They could feel Oleg's determination to fight to the death. There was no other way. Chapter 2206. Ugh, Oleg, that old Be-Astra's starred, seems to be risking his life. In the distance, the Xiaoyao ancestral master seemed to have sensed something and stared at Oleg and the other saints of the illusion race. Risking his life? I'm afraid that this old guy is acting. I don't know how many times he's acting. He looks like he's risking his life, but he's actually trying to escape. We must be careful of him. Vacant ancestral master sneered. He had been fooled by Oleg's realistic acting several times. Oleg was an invincible saint, but he fled faster than anyone else. He was so shameless that he didn't look like an invincible saint at all. Indeed, until now, the Abyss demons haven't appeared. Did they give up on the illusion race? I feel that this is unusual. Did they give up on the illusion race? Or are they so confident in their strength that they aren't worried that the illusion race will be wiped out? A chess piece like the illusion race shouldn't be given up. Another ancestor level, Saint narrowed his eyes. He felt that this was unusual. These old antiques were guarding on the side to prevent the illusion race's trump card and the Abyss demons from invading and besieging them. Until now, nothing had happened. However, the more it was so, the more uneasy they felt. After all, dogs that bite don't bark, and they were afraid that the Abyss demons had some tricks up their sleeves. Indeed, we must be careful. Oleg, that old Be-Astra's starred, hasn't shown any despair and is still full of confidence. I'm afraid that he really has a trump card that can help him get out of his current predicament. Sometimes, a dying beast is the scariest. The Xiaoyao ancestral master nodded. Humph. No matter what this little Be-Astra's star to the illusion race wants to do, he won't be able to do anything with us here. Vacant ancestral master said faintly. Look, Oleg is making a move. The Xiaoyao ancestral master said. Dark North little ghost, you've completely infuriated me. Your human clan will pay a heavy price for underestimating the illusion race. Oleg sneered and emitted endless murderous energy. It seemed like the laws of the entire universe revolved with him, forming a huge dark vortex. A horrifying abyss aura surged out of his body. You've indeed fallen into the abyss. The Dark North Saint narrowed his eyes as he sensed the terrifying power of the abyss surging out of Orisk's body. Dense black abyssal patterns appeared on the surface of Orisk's body, giving off an eerie, bizarre, and powerful aura. It could be said that Oleg was completely an abyssal creature. Sure enough, he fell into the abyss. With Oleg's aptitude, he shouldn't be able to step into the realm of invincible saints. He must have borrowed the power of the abyss to step into the realm of invincible saints. The Xiaoyao ancestral master and the others revealed horrifying murderous spirit in their eyes. This was the horror of the abyss. It could grant people endless power. Some saints who had been stuck at the bottleneck for many years couldn't resist the temptation of the abyss and finally fell. Obviously, Orisk was such a saint. In order to obtain more power, he accepted the recruitment of the abyss and became a powerful abyssal creature. How foolish. After reaching this realm, there's no difference between abyssal creatures and other creatures. The only difference is power. In order to obtain power, I've already given up on being a human. You guys won't understand this realm. That's why you've suffered a crushing defeat today. Understand? Oleg roared angrily and immediately charged towards Dark North Saint. Supreme technique, heaven-devouring, earth-devouring, demonic energy. In an instant, a huge amount of dark demonic energy gushed out of his body and turned into thousands of horrifying demons. They were all condensed from the abyss demonic energy and were extremely dark. Waves of dark demonic energy swallowed the sky and the earth, covering a radius of tens of thousands of light years. It was as if this galaxy was completely shrouded and turned into an absolute dark galaxy. The abyss demonic energy even covered the sky and the sun. It covered the void, cut off time and space, and corroded all matter. Wherever it went, everything withered completely, and even time and space were reversed. Some saints were caught off guard and were corroded by the abyss demonic energy. They were instantly sucked dry, and all their spiritual energy and energy were devoured. Even their souls were destroyed. Retreat. Retreat immediately. The human saints were horrified. They didn't expect Oleg to be so horrifying when he was angry. His first move was earth-shattering and unstoppable. They quickly escaped from the area covered by the demonic energy to avoid being killed. You're courting death. Come out. 4 seasons, God-killing painting. Dark North Saint's eyes revealed a trace of cold light, and murderous intent surged out. He was completely enraged and used all his strength. Swoosh, 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 swoosh. In the blink of an eye, he waved out with his hand, causing 4 swords to fly out. They were green, red, yellow, and white. They represented the 4 seasons of spring, summer, autumn, and winter respectively. Shockingly, every single one of them was a supreme grade saint weapon. Boom! The 4 swords descended and split into the 4 corners, forming a supreme sword matrix that covered the entire space. It was as if this space had become a world of swords. At that moment, time and space seemed to have stopped. Wave after wave of terrifying sword chi blasted out. It was as if the endless laws of the universe had been condensed, and like a chaotic torrent, it destroyed everything. Bang, bang, bang. In an instant, many of the illusory race's saints couldn't withstand it at all. They were pierced by the swords, and their bodies were completely torn apart. Terrifying sword chi exploded, destroying their souls and primordial spirits. There were even hundreds of millions of sword chi that seemed to be condensed from laws that tore through the void, easily killing the surrounding abyss demonic energy. Each sword could destroy a portion of the power. How can it be so terrifying? Retreat, retreat immediately. The 8 illusory race's ancient saints were horrified and retreated. They felt that unparalleled torrent that could even cut through the barriers of the universe. Every sword light contained a shocking sword intent that could penetrate all matter. With a boom, they were caught off guard. One of their arms was cut off and thrown away. A large amount of black blood flowed out, and a large amount of abyss demonic energy flowed out. Clearly, the 8 great ancient saints had also been corrupted by the abyss. Damn Dark North brat, you've completely angered me. This is all because you humans forced me. Oleg, will definitely make you pay a heavy price. I won't rest until you die. I won't rest until you die. Seeing the situation, some of the illusory race's saints were crushed to death like insects. There were countless casualties. Oleg's eyes were wide open. He couldn't take it anymore and was extremely furious. Mirage Mist Pearl, distort the universe. Combine illusion and reality. Unify the universe. In an instant, Oleg shouted angrily. He actually used the power of the Peerless Saint artifact, the Mirage Mist Pearl. A mysterious power immediately wrapped around his body, causing his body to turn invisible. He turned into a formless and colorless mist. With a whoosh, he escaped from that place with the 8 heavily injured ancient saints. Chapter 2207. Escaped? Where did they go? Dark North Saint narrowed his eyes. He found that even under the cover of the 4 seasons God-killing painting, he still couldn't find any trace of Oleg and the others, as if they had disappeared from this universe without a sound. If Oleg and the others escaped, they would bring irreparable damage to the human clan. After all, if such a saint went crazy and assassinated ordinary humans everywhere, they would be a huge threat. Don't worry, they can't escape. Under the suppression of the 10 Directions Tower of World, They can't escape no matter where they go. The Xiaoyao ancestral master immediately sent a voice transmission, telling them not to worry. Under the suppression of the 10 Directions Tower of World, Oleg and the others couldn't escape. Because of this, they prepared in advance and wouldn't let the situation of the illusion race's people escaping happen again. But where did Oleg go? He knows that this place is suppressed and all the space-time is frozen. It's impossible for him to escape. Is he going to ask for reinforcements? The emptiness ancestral master narrowed his eyes as he felt an unknown threat coming from the depths of the void. I'm not sure, but we'll know soon. I've communicated with the 10 Directions Tower of World and have been scanning all the time. In a short while, we'll find traces of that old ghost. He can't escape. The Xiaoyao ancestral master was murderous. Swoosh, swoosh. In the blink of an eye, Oleg and the other saints of the illusion race returned to the treasure vault of the illusion realm with the power of the peerless saint artifact Mirage Mist Pearl. Panting and sweating profusely, they were severely injured. It wasn't hard to imagine how fierce the battle was. If Oleg didn't help, they would have been killed by Dark North Saint. It could be said that they didn't have the power to fight against the human clan. Ancestral Master, are you really going to release that thing? Seeing Oleg return to the treasure vault, an ancient saint immediately understood his ancestral master's intention. The reason why he returned to this place was probably to release the cursed black coffin. The other sages had goosebumps all over their bodies and were trembling uncontrollably. The cursed black coffin was a terrifying secret treasure that the illusion tribe had obtained from the dark forbidden zone of the central universe. It was extremely frightening and strange, and the cursed power it contained was something that even sages could not withstand. Back then, in order to seal and suppress this cursed black coffin, their illusion race had suffered heavy losses. Countless people had died, and even some saints had fallen because of it. This was a forbidden weapon. The reason the illusion clan had fallen into the abyss and been corrupted by the abyss was because of this cursed black coffin. Back then, he had been afflicted by the curse of the cursed black coffin, his life hanging by a thread. He was about to completely die, and all of his life force was about to be extinguished. In order to survive, Orasco had no choice but to accept the conditions of the abyss. He got rid of all the power of the curse in his body, allowing his power to increase by another level. This caused the entire illusion race to be corrupted by the abyss, turning them into abyssal creatures. Even so, they were still extremely afraid of this cursed black coffin. Usually, they would send several primordial saints to guard this place, afraid that the power of the cursed black coffin would explode again and cause the entire illusion race to die a violent death. That's right. If the cursed black coffin is really released, no one will be able to withstand the power of the curse. Even the abyss will be helpless against this power. This will cause irreversible damage. Not many of the illusion realm will be left, and they will be completely cursed. And Primordial Saint could not help but swallow his saliva. He was extremely afraid. There's no other way. It's all because those damned humans have gone too far. They've come out in full force to destroy our illusion race. No matter what, the illusion realm will not be able to withstand them. Orasco gritted his teeth and said, but it's not that easy for them to destroy the illusion race. This time, I'm going to release the cursed black coffin and make those bastards pay a heavy price. I want to see what expression those bastards of the human race will have when they see the cursed black coffin. Perhaps a few of the invincible saints of the human race will fall because of this. Then, there will be a good show to watch. His tone was sinister, and his hatred was monstrous. The other primordial saints could not help but nod. Indeed, this was the most dangerous time for the illusion race. In order to completely destroy the illusion race, the human race had set up layers of divine seals. There was no way they could escape. They would die either way, so they might as well fight to the death with the human race. That way, they might have a chance of survival. Once the cursed black coffin was released, no matter how strong the human race was, they would fall into an endless curse. This was the true source of all evil, and it contained a power that even the abyss feared. Let's go in. We'll take out the cursed black coffin and teach that human race a lesson. Orasco clenched his fists. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. The group of saints nodded and immediately entered the inner hall of the illusion race's treasury. However, when they entered, they were all stunned and dumbfounded. Damn, what is this place? Did we go to the wrong place? Isn't this the inner hall of the illusion race's treasury? One of the saints was dumbfounded. According to his experience, the inner hall of the treasury should be filled with dazzling treasures. There should be a large number of longevity pills, all sorts of cosmic-level rare materials, and many stocks of sacred medicine that would make one drool. But now, the entire treasury was empty. There were no treasures at all. It was even cleaner than their faces. Immediately, they felt waves of panic. They felt as though their nest had been moved away. Damn, who did it? Which bastard did it? How could they be so crazy? Did they break in? One of the primordial saints cursed. He felt that the treasury might have been robbed this time. Otherwise, how could it be so clean? Even the door had been moved away. There was no waste at all. Could it be that the illusion race's elders knew that we might be defeated and moved the treasury in advance? It's to leave us with a chance of survival. One of the primordial saints guessed. He felt that they might be lucky and that it was their own people who did it. That way, the losses wouldn't be too great. Bullsh asterisk T. If it was our own people, how could the treasury's door be moved away so cleanly? Not even a bit of trash was left behind. See that spirit medicine garden? All the soil has been dug clean. There's no waste at all. It's like a gluttonous entrance. Plus, without our orders, which elder could enter? A thief must have come in. Don't let me find him or he'll die for sure. I'll kill his whole family and execute his 9 generations. This heartless bastard is shameless. Another primordial saint clenched his teeth and was so angry that he spat out blood. These treasures were obtained by the illusion race's saints after countless years of swindling, burning, killing, and plundering. But now it was gone in the blink of an eye. All of their wealth had been moved away. Who could endure such provocation? They really became penniless in an instant and went bankrupt overnight. Please remember this book's domain name, mobile version. Chapter 2208. Wait, where's the cursed black coffin? Did something happen to the cursed black coffin? One of the primordial saints suddenly said. So many treasures have been lost and taken by that thief. He was worried that something might happen to the cursed black coffin as well. But when he said this, another saint immediately laughed. Impossible. What is the cursed black coffin? It's a secret treasure that's as terrifying as the source of all evil. We paid a heavy price to seal it. If that thief dares to steal the cursed black coffin, he'll definitely die a horrible death. He was very confident in the safety of the cursed black coffin because it was not as simple as a treasure. At the same time, it was an extremely terrifying evil object. Once touched, even saints would die. All these years, they had paid a heavy price to seal this evil object. Even the primordial saints had to be careful when guarding it. They were afraid that the power of the cursed black coffin would explode. If that happened, they would die a horrible death. Let's go take a look. Oleg's expression was very gloomy as he spoke. He had a vague feeling that something was wrong. Whether the cursed black coffin was lost or not, he would know once he took a look. Whoosh! And primordial saint's figure flashed and immediately entered the deepest part of the treasure vault. His divine sense permeated it, and his expression changed. He could not help but scream, F***, it's gone. The cursed black coffin is really gone. It's really been stolen by that B***tch. What? Hearing this, the other sages immediately rushed out. They quickly looked over and saw that the space of nothingness was empty. There was nothing left. The evil and sinister power had disappeared completely, as if it had never been there. For a moment, all the saints' faces turned green. Without the power of the cursed black coffin, how could they kill the human race? How could they escape from such a situation where they would definitely die? This was basically cutting off their path of retreat. Oleg's face was as black as charcoal, but he could not say anything. He still remained silent. B****. But a hot-tempered primordial saint's face turned completely green. He was so angry that he was half dead. His body trembled. Which be asterisk TCH is so wicked to steal the cursed black coffin? What does he want? He wished for nothing more than to skin that little thief alive. That's not the problem. This is the cursed black coffin, and it contains a powerful curse power. Even we had to expend a lot of effort to seal it. How exactly did that thief steal it? Could it be that the little thief has mastered some kind of sealing method that we don't know about? We're finished. Without the cursed black coffin, what should we do? The saints of the illusory tribe had ugly expressions on their faces. They would never have thought that they would be in such a predicament. The disappearance of the cursed black coffin had basically taken away half of their lives. Damn it! The outer hall of the treasury. All the treasures in the outer hall of the treasury have been stolen. Even the hall masters guarding the outer hall are dead. A saint also sensed the situation in the outer hall of the treasury. He also realized that there was a huge problem with the outer hall. There were no treasures, and it was so clean that one could look at it like a mirror. There was no dust at all. He had never seen the treasury of the illusory tribe so clean in his life. That wicked dog. It seems like he has never seen a treasure in his life. He even plundered all the treasures in the outer hall. He didn't even let go of a single good thing. It's definitely Tao Dai. Tao Dai has entered the village. One of the sages shouted, "Wait, there seems to be a message on the wall." An ancient saint immediately noticed the series of messages Xia Ping had left on the wall. Many of the saints looked over and saw the content. I heard that the illusory tribe is rich, so rich that it can rival a country. Today, seeing the treasury, I am overwhelmed. I admit my inferiority and admit my inferiority. You really don't know how poor you are without seeing the illusory tribe. Because I am poor and live a hard life, I have to feed the elderly and children, and I have 3,000 wives and concubines to support. I have no choice but to come to the treasury of the illusory tribe to borrow treasures. Every one of the illusory tribe, please do not worry. I'm not someone who goes back on my word. I am borrowing treasures because I have no other choice. If I am better off in the future, I will definitely return the treasures and even visit to thank you. There is no need to worry. Wu Woody's message. When they saw the content, they couldn't help but be furious. Even their lungs almost exploded. Their anger rose from the soles of their feet to the top of their heads. Arrogant. He's too arrogant. He stole the treasures from our illusion clan's treasury and still dares to leave his name. How much does this be asterisk TCH look down on our illusion clan? Does he really think that our illusion clan can't do anything to him? A red-robed saint was furious. His face was red, and his head was almost smoking. His whole body was trembling. No one knew how angry he was. He had never seen such an arrogant thief in his life. He had stolen all the treasures in their treasury and even left a message on the wall as if he was afraid others wouldn't know he was the one who did it. That thief was really too arrogant, the kind that had no limits. The illusory tribe had done countless bad things, but they had never been so arrogant and rampant. What do you mean you heard that the illusory tribe is rich and wanted to borrow treasures from us? You call that borrowing treasures? You're clearly stealing and robbing, yet you still want to borrow an egg? Shameless bastard. You still say you are poor? You have 3,000 wives and concubines. Wouldn't it solve your living problems if you had fewer women? You are obviously poor and extravagant, and you still say you can't make ends meet. You came to the treasury of the illusory tribe to borrow treasures when you have no money. What do you think the illusory tribe is? A bank? Even if it is a bank, it is not a place where you can withdraw money whenever you want. You said you would return the treasures when you are well off. That's bullsh asterisk T. You go to play, gamble, and have 3,000 wives and concubines. How can you be well off? Even the richest man in the universe can't afford to spend money like that. I've told you not to show off your wealth. Look at all of you acting so cocky. In the end, you've attracted the attention of this F asterisk king shameless thief. He's stolen all the treasures in our illusion clan's treasury. Now it's all over. Kill him. We must find the tracks of this little thief and tear him to pieces. I have never been so cowardly in my life. The group of saints was furious. The illusory tribe was the ancestor of swindling. Most of their wealth was obtained through illegal means. It was all stolen goods. But they had never thought that they would be robbed one day. They were targeted by a shameless thief who plundered all the treasures of the illusory tribe. Even the ultimate trump card of the illusory tribe, the cursed black coffin, was stolen. What was this? Was this called a crook? That bastard was basically riding on their heads, shitting and pissing on them, and he was even laughing at them. Please remember this book's domain name. Mobile version. Chapter 2209. Wu Woody? Who is this bastard Wu Woody? Why does it sound so familiar? I've heard of him somewhere before. Do you guys feel the same way? For some reason, he felt that the name Wu Woody was very familiar. It was as if he had heard it somewhere before. There was an inexplicable sense of familiarity. Hearing this, some of the saints were stunned. They indeed felt the same sense of familiarity as though they had met before. Wu Woody? I remember now. A black-robe illusion race, saints suddenly shouted. Isn't this bastard Wu Woody the human race's most wanted criminal who has caused a commotion recently? That son of 8B *TCH has been committing crimes all over the universe, causing everyone to be angry. Now he's coming for us, the illusion race. He immediately recalled all sorts of information about Wu Woody. This was because the illusion race was considered one of the most well-informed races. They had collected all kinds of information about what was happening in the universe. Not to mention that Wu Woody had caused so much trouble that he was wanted by countless forces. He was currently a well-known, wanted criminal in the universe. It was impossible for them not to know about him. Moreover, saints had photographic memories. Once they heard it once, they would not forget it. What? That Wu Woody who has been causing trouble everywhere, causing the demon race, Luo Han race, angel race, and other large forces to hunt him down. I heard that he's a lunatic, and there's nothing he doesn't dare to do. He even killed an immortal saint of the demon race recently. He's not just a lunatic. That bastard is also a liar. When he was weak, he cheated countless people and committed heinous crimes. He's actually so shameless. He even cheated a child's money. He's really shameless. F***CK. I knew this bastard human wasn't a good person. Now he's actually targeting our illusion race. How can that bastard be so daring? He's fat to no end. Many saints gritted their teeth. They also recalled the information about Wu Woody. But the more they thought about it, the more they hated him. They did not expect this human bastard to target the illusion race, treating them like fat sheep. Maybe the information about our illusion race's location was leaked by this bastard Wu Woody. His goal is to kill us with a borrowed knife and take the opportunity to plunder our illusion race's treasury. A saint suddenly said, voicing his guess. What? If that's the case, it's very possible. Otherwise, how could things be so coincidental? The human race's sage had just arrived, and this shameless dog came to plunder the illusory race's treasury. It hasn't even been a few hours. That bastard must have been hiding in the illusory race for a long time, preparing to plunder our treasury. Some of the sages were enlightened and felt that everything was connected. Their illusion realm had been safe and sound in this place for such a long time. There was no reason for it to be discovered by the human race so quickly. This could only have happened if Wu Woody had leaked this matter. It can't be. If that's the case, could it be that our illusion tribe suffered such a calamity because this be *TCH Wu Woody wanted to rob our illusion tribe's treasury? There's a 90% chance that it was done by this bitch. Many of the illusory race's sages were so angry that their faces turned green. They felt that they already knew the truth of the matter. That be *TCH Wu Woody had betrayed the illusion tribe's information and killed them with a borrowed knife. He had been hiding in the dark, taking the opportunity to plunder the illusion tribe's treasures. When they thought that the illusion tribe's calamity might have been caused by Wu Woody, they were so angry that they were about to explode. They wanted nothing more than to skin Wu Woody alive and tear his body into pieces. No one had ever dared to fool the illusion tribe like this. Wu Woody, I will never forgive you. Don't let me find you, or you'll die. You'll die even if you run to the ends of the earth. At this time, Oleg could no longer hold it in. He roared with uncontrollable anger. With a bang, the ground he was standing on was immediately shaken into a terrifying pit. Terrifying cracks appeared everywhere, and the entire inner hall of the treasury was almost overturned. The surrounding space was shattered like glass. No one hated Wu Woody more than he did. If not for this B***TCH, how could the illusion tribe have encountered such a calamity? How could they have suffered such a tragedy? All of this was Wu Woody's fault. Boom! At this moment, a powerful aura descended from the depths of the void. It was the Xiaoyao Ancestral Master, Empyrean Ancestral Master, Dark North Saint, and other invincible human sages. They spent a certain amount of time to capture the aura of Oleg and the others. Then, they crossed the void and arrived. The terrifying power of laws filled the surroundings, suppressing the void. Oleg, you actually came back to the Illusion Tribe's treasury. Do you have any trump cards that you haven't used yet? The Xiaoyao Ancestral Master narrowed his eyes as if he wanted to see through Oleg's secrets. Is this really the Illusion Tribe's treasury? Why is there not a single treasure? Did you take everything? Did you move so quickly? The Empyrean Ancestral Master looked around, but did not find a single treasure. When the sages of the Illusion Tribe heard this, their faces darkened. Shut up. Stop putting on an act here. Oleg shouted angrily. Did the human race send Wu Woody to sneak into our illusory realm and take advantage of our battle to plunder all the treasures of the illusory race? You humans are really despicable and shameless. How could you do such a shameless and immoral thing? What the hell? What did this have to do with Wu Woody? The group of human sages was a little confused. They didn't know what Oleg was talking about, but they were very shrewd and naturally wouldn't show their thoughts. The Xiaoyao Ancestral Master pretended to be well-informed and said, "That's right. All of this is arranged by us humans. We figure out all of your secrets. If you know what's good for you, surrender immediately. Don't struggle before your death." He indicated that he had arranged everything himself. Bastard, it's really you humans who did this. You stole the Illusion Tribe's biggest trump card, the cursed Black Coffin, so I can't kill you all. Hearing this, Oleg believed it without a doubt. With a gloomy expression, he said, "But do you think this is all the trump card and power of our Illusion Tribe? Don't joke around. You humans are 10 billion years too early to destroy our Illusion Tribe." He took out the Peerless Saint artifact, the Mirage Mist Pearl, and injected horrifying source energy into it. Fata Morgana, Boundless Universe, Myriad Transformations, Chaotic Fog, explode for me. Oleg yelled angrily, and a horrifying force burst out from the depths of the Mirage Mist Pearl. Damn it! He wants to explode the Peerless Saint artifact, the Mirage Mist Pearl. Retreat immediately. The Empyrean Ancestral Master's eyes revealed a trace of cold light. The sages also sensed the horrifying energy in the depths of the Mirage Mist Pearl, as if a world was exploding. Please remember this book's domain name, mobile version. Chapter 2210. One had to know that a Peerless Saint artifact was equivalent to a complete superworld. It contained the perfect laws of the world and absorbed an endless amount of the universe's origin energy. If such a Peerless Saint artifact were to explode, it would be equivalent to a super explosion of a superworld. The resulting power would be earth-shattering and would be enough to sweep through thousands of star regions. Even Invincible Saint would be blown to death by the explosion of a Peerless Saint artifact if they were not careful. The human saints did not expect Oleg to be so crazy. He was like a cornered dog jumping over a wall and wanted to detonate the Peerless Saint artifact, the Mist Pearl. After all, a Peerless Saint artifact was extremely precious. It was enough to suppress the destiny of a race for billions of years. The reason why the Illusion race had been able to survive for billions of years was because of the Mist Pearl. Moreover, such an explosion would not only kill the human saints, but it would also kill the saints of the Illusion race. Even the ordinary people of the Illusion race would die a violent death. It was just like how a nuclear power would not detonate a nuclear bomb in its own country, no matter how crazy it was. Now, Oleg wanted to detonate the Mist Pearl. This could only be described as crazy. Whoosh! However, Ancestor Kong Kong did not panic at all. He waved his hand, and an invisible space-time power enveloped the bodies of all the human saints. The stars moved and merged with the void. In just an instant, all the human saints escaped from where they were. They passed through countless levels of the original space and arrived outside the illusion. Rumble, in an instant, the peerless saint artifact, the mist pearl, immediately exploded. With the mist pearl as the center, a terrifying wave of energy and tide was produced, sweeping through the 9 heavens and 10 earths. With a few cracking sounds, the surrounding space immediately shattered like glass. The entire illusion completely exploded, and all the ordinary people of the illusion race died in an instant. Waves of tyrannical energy instantly tore the surrounding space apart. The peerless saint artifact, the 10-directional world pagoda, which was originally sealed tightly, could not withstand such a destructive wave. Dense cracks appeared on the 10 worlds in an instant, and they all exploded. One after another, the laws of the universe completely collapsed, and this space could no longer maintain its stability. Terrifying space-time cracks also appeared in the depths of the void. They seemed to connect to the depths of the universe. Vaguely, a terrifying cosmic storm blew out, turning this place into a dead zone. Some of the saints of the illusion race were unable to dodge in time and were instantly destroyed, turning into ashes. Crazy. Oleg has really gone crazy. Wouldn't he have destroyed the entire illusion realm by doing this? Almost all of the illusion race are dead. Some of the sages were dumbfounded. They had not expected Oleg to go to such an extent. He sensed that the entire illusory world had been destroyed by the storm just now. Everything had been destroyed, and it had almost turned into a dead zone. Space storms and spatial turbulence were everywhere. If Ancestor Kong Kong had not acted in time and moved all the saints away, who knew how many saints would have been killed or injured? One could imagine the destructive power of the supreme rank saint weapon's explosion. Oleg has indeed gone mad, but he's not dead yet. Did he think that he could survive by running away at the last moment? What a fool's dream. Demon Sealing Tower, come out and suppress time and space. With a sneer, the Xiaoyao ancestral master took out a huge dark golden tower. Boom! In an instant, the dark golden pagoda immediately expanded and flew out. Dense dark golden runes appeared on the pagoda's body. Each rune contained a terrifying power of law, as if it represented a world. The power of this huge dark golden tower surpassed everything. Even the supreme rank saint weapon, 10 Directions Tower of the World, couldn't compare with it. It contained a sacred aura that transcended everything. It seemed that one terrifying saint after another was imprisoned in the tower. When this huge, dark golden tower appeared, the time and space within a radius of hundreds of millions of light years was suppressed. At this moment, it seemed that even time had stopped. Everything in the world was still, and no one could move. All the human saints felt that even their thoughts were sealed, and they couldn't move at all. After becoming saints, it was the first time that they had felt so powerless and weak. It seemed that all the laws of the universe had lost their effectiveness, and only the supreme power of the Demon Sealing Tower was left in the world. Instantly, a shrill scream came from the depths of the void. More than a dozen figures fell out of the space-time gap. They were the saints of the illusion race, including Oleg. They had wanted to use the power of the explosion of the supreme rank saint weapon, the Mist Pearl, to break through the space-time seal of the 10 Directions Tower and escape. Although this would kill all the ordinary people of the illusion race, it didn't matter to them. After all, they were just ordinary people. If they died, they died. They were not as important as the saints. As long as the saints of the illusion race were still alive, the illusion race could recover quickly and not decline. But they didn't expect the human race to have a trump card, which immediately shattered their wishful thinking. As soon as the Demon Sealing Tower appeared, it destroyed all space-time. All the laws of the universe revolved around the Demon Sealing Tower, forming an absolute realm of the world. Their methods were useless. Damn it. This is the Demon Sealing Tower of the human race, a terrifying treasure that far surpasses supreme rank saint weapons. Legend has it that countless ancient and evil saints are imprisoned in it. Now, in order to deal with the illusion race, you've even taken out the demon sealing tower. You're killing a chicken with a butcher's knife. Oleg couldn't help but yell in horror, his face ashen. He didn't expect that the human race would take out the demon sealing tower, which completely cut off all their escape routes. Even a lion will try its best to catch a rabbit. Just enter the demon sealing tower obediently. What awaits you is life imprisonment. The Xiaoyao ancestral master's eyes were cold like a lofty god. It was hard to kill a saint at Oleg's level with ordinary methods. Since he was immortal, they might not be able to kill him even if they fought for 100 million years. However, they didn't need to kill Oleg. As long as they could imprison him in the demon sealing tower forever, he wouldn't be able to cause any trouble even if he was immortal. In fact, the Yao Sealing Pagoda was created for this reason. It was used to imprison immortal monsters that were difficult to kill. Since ancient times, countless such monsters have been imprisoned in the depths of the demon sealing tower. Boom! Instantly, beams of dark golden light gushed out of the demon sealing tower one after another. Like countless laws of the universe condensed, they instantly enveloped Oleg and the dozen saints of the illusion race. At the same time, a horrifying suction force was created. With a swoosh, Oleg and the others were sucked into the deepest part of the demon sealing tower without any resistance. They were completely suppressed and could never rise again. Please remember the domain name of this book, mobile version. Chapter 2211. So this is the power of the Yao Sealing Pagoda. How terrifying! Many of the foreign sages had complicated expressions on their faces. This was the first time they had seen the Yao Sealing Pagoda, a divine artifact of the human race. It truly lived up to its reputation. Even the invincible sages had been easily suppressed without any resistance. If the human race used this magic treasure against them, they would not be able to escape either. Some of the demon sages' eyes flickered, because the name Yao Sealing Pagoda clearly targeted the demon race. It was probably named by the human race in order to deal with the demon race. In fact, during the war between the human race and the demon race, many demon sages have been suppressed in the Yao Sealing Pagoda by the human race. Even now, the demon race was still trying to find ways to release some of these demon sages. These demon sages were extremely important to the demon race and could not be missed. Unfortunately, the human race was still unwilling to release them. It's finally over. Seeing Oleg and the other sages of the illusion race being suppressed, many of the sages breathed a sigh of relief. Even the strongest of the illusion race had been suppressed. The remaining forces were not a threat at all. It's a pity that some escaped, a sage said regretfully. When the peerless sage artifact Mist Pearl had exploded, it had torn apart the defense of the 10-directional world pagoda. Some of the sharp-witted illusion race sages had taken the opportunity to escape. In order to avoid the power of the Mist Pearl's explosion, they had no time to chase after them. They could only let them escape. It doesn't matter. The power of the illusion race has been mostly wiped out anyway. Even if there are some small fries left, they are nothing to be afraid of. They won't be able to cause much trouble. A sage beside him waved his hand dismissively. In fact, even if all the people of the illusion race in the illusion realm were killed, the illusion race would not be extinct. This was because there were still some people left in various parts of the universe. They might be carrying out a mission or something, so they had escaped. Therefore, they had not planned to completely exterminate the illusion race from the beginning. As long as the main force of the illusion race was killed, the remaining ones would not matter too much. They were just small fries. They would not be able to cause any trouble at all. But what about the Wu Woody that Oleg and the others were talking about? It seems that Wu Woody stole the trump card of the illusion race, causing their plan to fail. That's why they did not cause great trouble for the human race this time. Old Ancestor, from what you said just now, it seems to be closely related to this matter. Dark North Saint looked at the Xiaoyao Ancestral Master. Since the Xiaoyao Ancestral Master looked so confident just now, this matter seemed to be closely related to the Xiaoyao Ancestral Master and might have been arranged by him. The other sages also looked over. This has nothing to do with me. I was just bluffing him just now. After all, seeing that he was so happy, I went with the flow. Anyway, bragging doesn't cost money. Xiaoyao Ancestral Master said casually. The sages were speechless, not expecting the Xiaoyao Ancestral Master to be so cunning. But what kind of trump card has the illusion race prepared? A saint asked. An existence that could be regarded as a trump card by an invincible saint could be imagined how terrifying it was. It must be a power that could pose a great threat to all saints. Otherwise, Oleg would not have placed so much importance on it. I interrogated the saints of the illusion race who were imprisoned in the Yaoxiling Pagoda. They spoke. Empyrean Ancestral Master said, "It's a horrifying secret treasure from the dark forbidden zone called the Cursed Black Coffin. It contains horrifying curse power, which they call the source of all evil. Even the power of the abyss can't expel it. Once the Cursed Black Coffin is opened, it will immediately release horrifying curse power, turning the starry sky within a radius of billions of light years into a dead zone. All vitality will be wiped out, and no one will be able to escape." In order to seal the Cursed Black Coffin, the saints of the illusion race paid a heavy price. They planned to open the Cursed Black Coffin at the critical moment and kill all of us. Unfortunately, this secret treasure was taken away. What? The sages were horrified. It was a horrifying secret treasure from the dark forbidden zone. No wonder Oleg was so confident. If Oleg had succeeded, they would have suffered countless casualties. Fortunately, the secret treasure was taken away. Otherwise, the consequences would be unimaginable. But this secret treasure is in the hands of Wu Wuti. Will it cause any harm? Some of the sages were terrified. They felt that such a horrifying secret treasure had fallen into the hands of an unknown person. Any sage would be terrified and worried about when that kid would use it. There's nothing we can do even if it's in his hands. I think that what happened today was most likely Wu Wuti's doing. He was also the one who leaked the news. This kid is really bold. He even dared to use the power of our human race's sages to kill others. Empyrean Ancestral Master gritted his teeth. At this time, he had already understood some things. It was probably Wu Wuti who leaked the news of the illusion race's location to the human race's darknet. This kid's goal was also very simple. He probably wanted the illusion race and the human race to fight to the death. Then, he would take the opportunity to enter the treasury and steal the treasures. He did not expect that he would actually succeed. No one noticed the actions of this insignificant person. Even the illusion race's trump card had been stolen by that kid. As a result, Oleg was so angry that he almost went crazy. He had completely ruined the illusion race's plan. Although this action had unintentionally ruined the illusion race's final plan, there was no doubt that the kid had indeed gained the most this time. All the illusion race's treasures had been stolen by this guy. They had mobilized so many people, but they did not get any treasures. Everything had gone to someone else. Good kid. You actually dared to trick the two races. Do you know who Wu Wuti is? Someone said that he's a human. Is this true? Xiaoyao Ancestral Master narrowed his eyes. If the other party was a human, then it would be fine. However, if the other party was not a human but another race, then the problem would be huge. They had no idea what the other party's goal was. I'm not sure. This Wu Wuti is very mysterious. There seems to be a mysterious force protecting him. It's unpredictable. I'm guessing that this name might be fake. It's just a code name. A human ancestral master tried to calculate Wu Wuti's whereabouts. However, Wu Wuti was always shrouded in a layer of mist. It was impossible to calculate or find any clues. Don't worry. A person like him will show himself sooner or later. His identity won't be hidden for too long. Today's matter is over. Let's go back. Xiaoyao Ancestral Master said faintly. The sages couldn't help but nod. This time, Wu Wuti's name was completely remembered by countless sages. This kid stirred up endless storms and even had a horrifying secret treasure. This was a time bomb. No one knew when it would explode. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. The sages' figures flashed and immediately left this starry sky. Please remember this book's domain name, mobile version. Chapter 22:12. At this time, hundreds of millions of light years away, on a planet in a remote star field. Whoosh! On a plane on the planet. Many members of the illusion race who had teleported from the illusion realm appeared. Among them were Minerva, Sophia, and the other three saints from the ancient times. When the sea serpent pearl exploded and tore through the defense of the 10-directional world tower, they had used the emergency teleportation formation that the illusion race had left in the illusion realm and teleported to the refuge of the illusion race. Emergency teleportation formations like this one were scattered throughout the illusion realm. The purpose was to prevent the illusion race from being annihilated by the enemy one day, so that the other members of the illusion race would have a chance to escape. However, because the 10-directional world tower had sealed time and space, they could not use this teleportation formation. After the sea serpent pearl tore through the 10-directional world tower's seal, they immediately activated the teleportation formation and rescued a large number of the illusion race. However, there were too few people who could react. The number of members of the illusion race who could reach the refuge was too few. Compared to the number of the illusion race, it was just a drop in the bucket. Fortunately, it was only a small group that escaped. If most of them had escaped, it would have alerted the human saints and left behind many traces. By then, they would not have been able to escape. Because of their small number and insignificant numbers, like flies, they were not enough to attract the attention of the human saints. We finally escaped. A near ancient saint from the illusion race in black exclaimed. He could not help but spit out a mouthful of blood. At this moment, his body was severely injured from the battle just now. There were too many saints from the human race who had invaded the illusion race. Each of them was very powerful. Even though they had reached the level of a near ancient saint, they were just slightly stronger ants. Even the ancient saints had fallen, let alone them. Fortunately, they were smart and cautious. Seeing that the situation was not good, they immediately escaped. That was why they did not become cannon fodder and escaped from the human race's pursuit. At the same time, they also saved some important people from their respective families. Otherwise, the ordinary people of the illusion race would have all died in that earth-shattering explosion. Even so, they were severely injured and could not recover in a short period of time. Damn it! Which bastard leaked the news of our illusion race and brought such a disaster upon himself? A red-robed saint from the illusion race gritted his teeth in anger. This was an undeserved calamity. If not for the fact that someone had leaked the news of the illusion race, they would not have met with such a calamity. Now, the high-level combat power of the illusory race had basically disappeared. Most of the illusory race soldiers were dead. It could be said that the illusory race was no different from being wiped out. Only a few defeated soldiers were left. Let's give up. I reckon that the spy should be a human. Otherwise, the humans wouldn't have come out in full force. Also, you should know that even Lord Erasco couldn't find the bitch who leaked the information about the illusion race. How could we find out with our strength? Most importantly, was it a good thing to know? The other party is probably a high-ranking member of the human race, and his power is not to be underestimated. There is no way we can take revenge, a green-robe illusion race saint said helplessly. Hearing this, they all felt very helpless. It was true. Even the illusion race was not a match for the human clan at their peak. How could they, as a defeated army, do anything to the mysterious higher-ups of the human clan? All right, let's not talk about these boring things now. At this moment, Minerva stood up. Right now, the entire illusion race is probably only left with us saints. Even if there are some left outside, there aren't many. For now, we must unite. First, we must decide on a leader. After all, a snake can't move without a head, and a man can't move without a head. We must find a leader to give orders and lead everyone forward. We can't fall here. Minerva, you're too much. We've just left alive, and you're already trying to fight for power. You even want to be the leader yourself. Are you crazy? Beside him, Sophia laughed coldly. She immediately saw through Minerva's thoughts. I don't deny my ambition to be the leader. However, other than me, who else has the strength and the qualifications to be the leader of the illusion race? Minerva said calmly. This The other saints of the illusion race were stunned. They couldn't deny this fact. Whether it was in terms of strength or tactics, Minerva was currently the number one. Sophia. Minerva looked at Sophia. Times are different now. You can't continue being stubborn. You should think about the overall situation of the illusion race and dual cultivate with me. If I can obtain the pure energy in your body, then there's a certain degree of hope for me to ascend to the middle-aged saint realm. Moreover, if you and I dual cultivate, our cultivation will definitely improve by leaps and bounds. Now, other than me, who else is worthy of you? A cold glint flashed in Sophia's eyes. She didn't expect Minerva to be so daring. It was already a matter of life and death for the illusion race, but he still dared to pressure her for the sake of the illusion race. He was simply unscrupulous. However, when she thought about the illusion race's current precarious situation, they definitely couldn't continue to fight against each other. Otherwise, the illusion race would completely disappear from this universe. The eyes of the other three saints flickered, but they didn't say anything. This was because Minerva, who hadn't suffered much damage, was the strongest saint among them. Right now, they could only make him breathe. Moreover, this wasn't a bad thing for the illusion race. At this moment, there was a grain of sand on the ground. It was Xiaoping. He had also followed Minerva and the others. He had attached himself to an ordinary member of the illusion race and came to this place of refuge for the illusion race. In fact, when the Mirage Mist Pearl exploded, he also wanted to take the opportunity to leave. However, at the same time, he also discovered the movements of his enemy, Minerva. He had an idea. He wanted to see what was going on, so he followed them. However, he didn't expect that Minerva, who had just escaped from the illusion realm and survived, would now want to force Sophia to submit. This kind of method was really cruel, cold, and merciless. Everything was just for benefits. In fact, Minerva didn't really like Sophia. He just wanted to use Sophia for his cultivation. The ultimate path was what Minerva was pursuing. Master, you must kill this Minerva. At this moment, the green bull gritted his teeth and said, "This be asterisk starred used such a sinister method to kill you. You can't let him go just like that. Let him continue to grow stronger. Of course, we must find a way to kill him." Xiaoping narrowed his eyes. There was a hint of murderous intent in the depths of his pupils. However, there were a few saints around him now. He had to find a way to kill them all. Chapter 22:13. To be honest, with Xiaoping's current strength, it was not realistic for him to fight against 5 near-ancient sages. After all, near-ancient sages who had comprehended the law of space were extremely powerful and would not be easy to deal with. Not to mention that there were 5 of them in this place. If he was careless, he might fail miserably and be the unlucky one. "Master, I think we can borrow the power of the cursed black coffin," Green Ox said. Even a strand of curse aura released by the cursed black coffin is extremely terrifying. It is enough to make a sage fall into an endless purgatory. If Master can borrow the power of the cursed black coffin, even if it is just a small portion, it will be easy to kill these heavily injured near-ancient sages. The reason why it felt that it could deal with these illusory tribe sages was because Xiaoping had sealed the cursed black coffin. Sensing the power of this secret treasure, it naturally knew how terrifying the cursed black coffin was. "You are right. We can borrow the power of the cursed black coffin to kill them." Xiaoping narrowed his eyes. Although the cursed black coffin was sealed by the creation orb and could not be touched, he could still borrow the curse aura that leaked out from the cursed black coffin. The curse aura was extremely strange and terrifying. Fortunately, he had the bloodline of the golden crow of hell, which could restrain all dark and unclean powers. Therefore, he did not have to worry about the curse aura harming him. At the same time, he could also control the curse aura to attack his enemies. This damn cow is right. We can take this opportunity to launch a sneak attack and inject the curse aura into these 5 near-ancient sages, causing them to fall into the underworld. Their souls will collapse, and their bodies will be severely injured. Then it will be easy to kill these near-ancient sages, Corinne said treacherously. It was rare for him to agree with Green Ox's suggestion. If he could kill these 5 near-ancient sages, he would definitely gain great benefits. Even if he could not kill them, Xiaoping could easily escape and not worry about being hurt. He was already in an invincible position. There was no reason not to do it. Okay. Xiaoping circulated the spiritual power in his body. With a single thought, he controlled the world creation orb to reveal a small opening. With a loud boom, the cursed aura from the cursed black coffin surged out of the opening like a shark that had come into contact with fresh blood. Seal. He formed a seal with his hands, and the power of the golden crow of hell surged out of his body, condensing into hellish runes that instantly enveloped the cursed aura. Then, he closed the creation sphere again to prevent the curse from leaking out. Wrapped in the hell runes, the cursed aura remained unruly and unruly. Like black monsters, they collided with each other in a frenzy. However, they were ultimately sealed in the spatial cage formed by the hell runes. It could be said that the energy within the golden crow of hell was something that could destroy the power of curses. If the real golden crow of hell appeared here, it would definitely be able to refine the black coffin. Go! Xiaoping's eyes glinted coldly. With a wave of his hand, tens of thousands of infernal golden crow runes that were wrapped in the aura of the curse silently blended into the void and shot toward Minerva and the other sages. Minerva was still negotiating with Sophia. What do you think? Sophia, I can give you an hour to consider, but if you exceed an hour, you must give me an answer. I'm running out of patience now. Minerva's eyes glinted coldly. The reason why he had been so patient with Sophia and never used any violence was because he had the illusion tribe's elder council above him, as well as the ancient sages and invincible sages. However, things are different now. Most of the ancestors of the illusion tribe were dead, and there was no one above him who could suppress him. He was now the temporary leader of the illusion tribe. Hence, he was no longer as patient as before. If Sophia still did not agree, he could only force himself on her. The other 3 ancient sages watched from the sidelines and treated themselves as outsiders. Fury flashed in Sophia's eyes. She was about to say something. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. In an instant, tens of thousands of black light spots sank into the deepest parts of the bodies of the 5 ancient sages. Because the black light spots were too fast, too close, and too silent, they had just escaped danger and lost their vigilance. Therefore, they could not react at all. In the blink of an eye, the hell runes wrapped in the power of the curse nailed into the bodies of the 5 sages like nails, like maggots attached to the bones. Who is it? Who's playing tricks here? Come out now. One of the green-robed sages roared. He was shocked and angry. He did not expect something like this to happen. There were 5 ancient sages here, but they did not realize there was an enemy lying in ambush. He was so angry that he wanted to capture the enemy, who suddenly attacked and tear him to pieces. At this moment, a black-robed sage could not help but scream because the power of the curse was starting to take effect. Damn it, what is this? Why does it contain such a strong aura of death, resentment, demonic aura, and such a terrifying power of the curse? What the hell is this? He was horrified to find that the black light spots that entered his body immediately exploded. Terrifying resentment, death, demonic aura, curse, and other strange powers surrounded every corner of his body. The power of the curse was like the scythe of hell, crazily cutting at the spatial laws in his body. It destroyed every cell in his body and even corroded his soul, causing him to fall into an endless abyss. For a moment, he roared at the top of his lungs. He used the mana in his body, and his body bounced around like a ball. It was as if he had completely gone mad. The terrifying power of the curse exploded, causing him to completely lose his mind. It was as if countless evil spirits were devouring and tearing at his soul, dragging him into an endless abyss. The cursed black coffin. This is the terrifying power of the curse from the cursed black coffin. Bastard, shouldn't it be suppressed in the depths of the void by the ancestors? Why would such an ominous power appear in this place? Who is so despicable as to use such a sinister trick to plot against us. One of the green-robed sages was very familiar with this power because he had once approached the inner hall of the treasury and felt the strange and terrifying power of the cursed black coffin at close range. It was an unforgettable experience for him. But now that this power had appeared on him, he was so scared that he almost lost his life. Once someone was entangled by this power of the curse, they would be stuck for life. It would be like maggots on the bones, and they would not rest until they were dead. Among the current sages, no one knew better than him how terrifying the cursed black coffin was.